force us to do anything. Would God have us marry someone we aren't physically attracted to? I know he doesn't force us to do anything, as we have free will. I also know that appearance isn't everything, but I can't help but wonder if I'm being too picky or unrealistic, and should probably lighten up on my physical appearance standards so that I don't miss my chances of meeting a good godly man. Oh, I want to start off with this one. Okay, that's great. I think yay for you for humbling yourself to say, maybe I'm being too unrealistic or maybe I'm being too picky. Because sometimes I feel like we can get like, he got to be this, he got to be 7 feet tall, he got to have this much money, he got to be like this complexion. Like sometimes we can get that specific, right? And it's nothing wrong being specific, but sometimes I think that we can be so picky that we can miss out on an opportunity. But however, absolutely, I believe that God wants you to be attracted to your spouse. But I will say this as well, and I don't know if you want to piggyback off of this. I would say that I feel like, and I don't want to speak for all women, but I feel like most women, of course, we want to be attracted to the man we're with, but I feel like we're more emotional and that men are more like physical, what they're attracted to with their eyes. Now, again, it goes both ways because I know my husband was very attracted to me physically, but he was very picky on a lot of the other things. And he had met a lot of physically attractive women, but he turned them down because they didn't have the other aspects that were really important to him. So I know it can go both ways. But I feel like in this case, if you're absolutely not attracted to them at all, then I feel like, how would you even start that conversation? How would you even go out on a date with them? You could, but maybe if someone is, I guess you're saying someone who you're not attracted to is trying to talk to you. You know what? I'm a little torn because I've known situations, and I'm gonna be honest, I know his perspective, which is totally different than mine. But I know women who got to know a guy maybe through church or through work or through a mutual friend, and they just built a friendship. They were real cool, and they ended up falling in love. But don't force it. If you ain't attracted to him, you ain't attracted to him. So don't force it. And I know my husband has a very different perspective because I know he was very about like, I want what I want, which is nothing wrong with that. I feel like God honors the desires of your heart. And I believe that is so true. So in my opinion, yes, you should be attracted to them. Do they have to be a supermodel? No. So if you feel like he has to be a supermodel, maybe you should rethink that. But God wants you to be delighted in the person you have to look at for the rest of your life. So if you're not attracted to a person, you're not attracted to a person. And if you find that you went out with them and you're starting to get attracted to them because of their personality, that could change. It could. I know he's about to like slam down what I'm saying. But hey, I mean, even my perspective of who I thought I was going to marry was totally different. And we talked about that. But then when I met you and then I saw you were cute or whatever, it's just different. I feel like sometimes your heart changes or what you desire can change over time. So I know situations, someone close to me, when they first met their husband, they were like, he's okay. Then they got to talking to him and now he's the finest thing ever. I mean, sometimes it'd be like that. But don't lower your standards. If you like something, ask God for it. I believe he'll give you the desires of your heart. Okay, I'm done.
So I think that one of the first things is you have to stay in tune with the Lord, first of all, because here's the thing. He knows the things that you desire that you don't even know you desire. And as you walk with him, he's going to reveal things. That's why you hear stories about people like, I didn't know I like that. God knows that. But here's the thing. He's not going to have you marry somebody that you're not attracted to. Marriage is a choice. Yeah. He's not going to pull you out of the ear and say, marry that person or else. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's your choice. You have to be attracted to him.
Yeah. And if the attraction never comes, just to piggyback up what I was saying, then absolutely not. I was talking about situations where the attraction gradually came. You know what I mean? Like after they got to know each other.
If it gradually came, I mean,
then there's an attraction of it.
At least let yourself go through the process, or let it catch you off guard. But don't just be like, well, I'm not attracted, and it's gonna gradually come because it came for her or whoever. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta be attracted to him.
Thing is, be straight up with yourself. Don't trick yourself. Don't April Fool's yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're not attracted, you're just not attracted. No matter how many friends tell you, that's a good man, that's a good woman. Don't do it. You getting older. Man, don't do that because you got to wake up to that person the rest of your life. So don't be fooled by that. If you got to wait. Yeah. You just got to grow the patience so that you can wait. But don't do, because here's the thing.
You got to look at them the rest of your life.
That too. And
well, listen, hey guys, welcome to Little Black Book 91. We're gonna be having a conversation. I will bring the panelists on in a second. Hold on. We're gonna be having a conversation today about, is it childish if you can't fall in love when you're not attracted to the person? Is it childish to be that way? I mean, does it take a mature person to be in a space where you can actually find, you don't necessarily find that person attractive and you grow in the aspect of attraction? Is that maturity? We're gonna be talking about that today. So I'm gonna be honest with you. Here's my honest opinion. I already told you guys this several times before. Don't choose me if you know you don't find me attractive. I'm not that guy. Please. Okay. And we know when you are attracted. Let me tell you some things. See, ladies like to pretend. When you meet a woman and she's uber attracted to you, not only does her physical behavior change, but also her vocality. Yeah. Listen, these ladies, they can't lie very well. If you're not sexy to them, they won't tell you you're sexy. They really won't lie to you. Okay, they'll be like, no, he's cute, you know. Or whenever you hear things like cute, just know to run. Start running now. Like that girl does not find you attractive at all. She's saying you're cute, and before you know it, she's now doing the cute. Hey, you don't want to be in that position. See ya, madam. You don't want to be in that position, okay? All right. If you know you're not attracted to a man, leave me alone. I've experienced true desire and attraction. I do not want you to feign your attraction and your liking for me. Please, if you think I'm clapped and ugly, it's okay. Remain that space where you think I'm clapped and ugly. Let's stay where we are and let's all be free and let's all be enjoying our various spaces. Because for me, yeah, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna fall in love if I don't find you attractive. Okay, call me childish all you want, but I ain't gonna do it. Okay, all right. And God wouldn't do that to me because when he described Jacob going to Rachel and Leah, he said Rachel was had body, look good. When he described Rebecca, she said look good. You understand what I'm saying to you? Yeah. When David saw Bathsheba, what did he see? She looked good. You know what I'm saying? Have you noticed the Bible they'll not be missing up on those parts, but they'll be letting you know these girls are bangers. The patriarchs, they're bangers. Don't play with them. Sarah, to the point that Abraham had to even lie. My friends, please, I cannot do it. If the man them can't do it with God, I can't surely do it. Okay, you know what I'm saying to you? So that's my personal opinion. Let me get my panelists on. Let's have a conversation. Let us know as well. First and foremost, if you're here, put a comment in the chat, but also like the video, share it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We're having a great conversation today with a few panelists from the UK. And we're talking about whether we can fall in love if we're not attracted to someone. You know what I mean? I'm sure the ladies will tell us many magnificent, glorious battles and stories they've told us about how they fell in love with somebody they weren't attracted to. It's a badge of honor for them. And they certainly will tell us about how they don't mind a person being ugly to them. They're going to find a way because it's about emotional connection. They're always going to tell us that story. Listen, and I'm here for it. I'm here to hear the lies. I'm here to hear the rabbit holes, and I'm here to hear the stories that always end up in the same place. You didn't like him in the end, did you? Okay. And you cussed him out when he decided to mess up. Okay. So let's get the panelists on board. Again, subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 100K before the end of the year. We're trying to do the impossible, but with God, anything is possible. You hear me? I appreciate y'all. All right, listen, let me get the panelists on board and let's get this conversation flowing. I've got Jeff, Charlene, Jay, and Precious with me today. Okay, so we're gonna have this great conversation, baby. Let's get them on board, my fellow panelists. Yes. Listen, we're having a conversation today. We're asking this question: is it childish to fall in love? Is it childish if you can't fall in love with someone that you're not attracted to? So I guess my first question to ask is this: can you fall in love with somebody you're not attracted to? Can you? I want you to take it from two fronts: general, and then take it as in specific to you. You understand what I'm saying to you? So general and specific to you. Can you fall in love with someone you're not attracted to? I'm going to go to Pressure straight away because the topic was inspired by you. Okay.
Is there an echo?
No, you're good.
We're good?
We're good.
Okay. Not you saying the topic was inspired by me, Kevin. Wow. It was inspired by the whole group chat. Thank you very much. I think I think you can fall in love with somebody that you're not initially attracted to, because I also feel like the initial attraction doesn't mean that you're not attracted to them. It might just mean there might specifically be a little bit out of your type, or there might be aspects of them that is out of your type, but it doesn't mean that they're not attractive, if that makes sense. Because I'm assuming you wouldn't be going on a date with somebody that you find repulsive or like truly unattractive. So I think maybe it might just be that person isn't your typical type, but there is something there that is attractive to you. So I do think you can fall in love with somebody that isn't your typical type, for sure.
Thank you very much, Precious. Charlene, your thoughts. Can you fall in love with somebody you're not attracted to? You can take that generally and personally.
Yes, I mean, I agree with Precious that if there's not that initial attraction, then it can develop. But if it never develops, then no, that's not going to happen. Fall in love is a leap in regards to being with someone you're not attracted to. But yeah, you know, things like attraction, they can grow. But I just think that there has to be something about them. Like what Precious was saying, they may fall a little bit out of your type, or they may not be your type at all, but there's something about them that you're like, oh, I didn't consider that before. I wouldn't have picked you before now, but there's something about you. I like that. Now that is possible for you to fall in love with. But I am, quote unquote, I am not attracted to him. Nah, absolutely not.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Go for it. Yes, Jay, go for it.
I mean, my answer is no. But to speak for other people first, I mean, we have the show Love is Blind, right? And people haven't seen someone, but they end up falling. That's cool. And as we know, what we see in the show is actually just a few days, so to speak, whereas they actually spend quite a long time getting to know someone behind the wall. That's what we don't actually see. So is it possible in that context? Possibly, but also because you're using the image of what you think the person looks like. The problem is we have also seen when they actually see what the person looks like, as much as they try to, okay, yeah, that's nice, we can see the disappointment on people's faces. So, in fact, even before I talk about myself, you also have some of the older generation who you can clearly see how they got together wasn't really based off attraction, and it's the very traditional way of getting together, a very traditional way of marrying, which is more about duty and etc. So these things do happen. But the idea of falling in love, to me, because really you fall in love with someone's character, not just what they look like. However, as a man, I'm not going to lie to you, what my missus look like is very key to me, and it's very important. If I look at you as facially challenging or bodily challenging, it's not going to happen. Absolutely no way. There's nothing you can actually do that's going to change how I feel about how I feel about you. And I've actually had that scenario before in my life, and I had to let it go. Because for me, yeah, you're cool, but there's nothing that you can do that can actually make me fall for you. I need to have that initial attraction. And, I don't think I've even had a time in my life where I've found someone more attractive a couple months down the line. It's either I have something or I have nothing, and that's it. Can my something increase to even more? Yeah, but starting from zero where I don't find you attractive, you're joking. If I'm going to fall in love with you, absolutely no way.
Jeff, talk to me, bro.
Oh boy. First of all, I co-sign Kojo when he says that Precious started all this malarkey. So yeah. Second of all, generally, I would say it is possible to it's possible to build attraction with someone that you're not initially attracted to, if we're talking about aesthetic. So it's a possibility, but there has to be something. There has to be like a seed that has to be planted that you can think, maybe I can work with this, because this person grows on you in terms of their character, and you're looking at how other people treat you and how this person treats, and you're thinking, maybe I can do something with this. Maybe this can grow and develop into something. So yeah, personally for me, nope, no, absolutely not. If we're starting from a negative deficit where I don't see the person I'm with as physically attractive and it's a challenge for me, nah, I think it's you're doing the person a disservice by being dishonest, because if you have to force yourself to find a reason as to why you find this person attractive, it's not real. So personally, why waste time? You might as well go for someone that you find attractive. So obviously, they don't have to be a supermodel, no, but there has to be at least something about this person that makes you say, hey, yeah, this person is attractive to me based by my own standards as to what I deem attractive. They say beauty is in the eye of the beholder, so everyone's standards or perception of what they think is attractive to them is different. What I consider to be attractive might be different to what you consider to be attractive. So yeah, I would say nope. I don't think personally for me I could do it, but generally other people's standards are different. So yeah, maybe it's possible to build attraction from someone who isn't all the way attractive, if that makes sense.
And you know what's mad? I think, you know what? The answer to the question generally is, I would say, is it possible for me to fall in love with somebody I'm not attracted to? Absolutely. Give it enough time. Give it enough time and give it a confined space. I could. You know, and you know what? Do you know how I know? Because you know, at work, you know, when you're at workplace in the office, people who are not even on your radar suddenly start coming on your radar. You spend too much time with them. That's the problem right there. You know, you're now looking at George, like looking at some of the girls looking at George. I'm looking at Gina. Look at Gina. Gina, okay, she hasn't got much of an ash, but now I'm looking at her going, I'm lying to myself. The ash has even grown. It hasn't, but I'm looking at it again. You know, like you start doing things like that. You know, the ones there where you start reanalyzing people because you spend so much time with them that, you know, you start even trying to give them extra points. And actually, I think it's a psychological thing. I've never done a study on it. I've never seen any study on it, but I personally think, yeah, that, you know, context matters when it comes to attraction, right? So for instance, if you spend 8 hours in the office, right, and you in your office there isn't many lookers, it only takes someone to be slightly good looking for them to be peng, because the office, you're spending 8 hours in the office, the rest of the team are not looking that great, that person stands out even more. But like if you're out and about, right, the plethora of people that you can meet or see, you tend to judge them based upon the area that you're in, maybe, or the environment that you're in, right? You might have a larger pool to judge from. So, but when you're at work, you've only got that small pool and you spend so much time with them that sometimes people start looking like, you know what? You're looking a little cute. Now, would I go there? No. You know, I've learned not to deceive myself. Okay, that's a relationship. I didn't say anything else. So, you know, I've learned also to make sure that, you know, you don't lie to yourself. But personally, I think generally, I can see how that could happen if you spend enough time. I personally won't be doing it, because if I have to convince myself that I'm attracted to you, I already know I'm going to cheat on. I mean, I already know that I'm not gonna love you the way I need to love you.
I'm so tired of you. Say it right the first time.
You said it right. He said it right.
Oh, gracious king. I didn't mean to say that.
Oh Lord.
Freudian slip. I wasn't meant to say it. Any other thoughts now to that before I ask another question? Any contributing thoughts to that?
To piggyback off what you said though, but when you come to your senses, you realize what you're doing. So I personally wouldn't take it as far as falling in love, but I understand when you say people warm to you. I think people have mentioned in the comments, people warm to you, which is understandable. But if you're going to be truthful, I mean, it's like the Big Brother effect or the Love Island effect. Because you're around them all the time, you just get used to them, man. It's understandable. You're going to like someone a bit more, etc. Or you're going to, I mean, you're going to have some level of delusion about something. We're human beings, that's fine. But for me personally, I mean, past the initial attraction, I mean, yeah, there ain't nothing that's going to happen. I mean, I got a story, but I mean, it's a bit embarrassing, you know. Yeah, it's a bit embarrassing, but you know, I'm not going to tell it right now, but it's a bit embarrassing. But let's just say my friends encouraged me to entertain a girl that I really wasn't attracted to, and I had to take something to perform. Let's just put it that way. Anyway, bye-bye.
Can I there was Jay,
it can never be that bad. I don't care what anyone says. It can never be that bad. I will perform. I need to.
Jay, what was?
My name is on the line.
No, we're not even gonna go down that road. We're not going down that road. All I'm gonna say,
Please go down the
what I'm
road.
gonna say is that there has to be some form of like, so when I feel like men tend to be very black or white about these things. Look, what I'm saying is that it doesn't have to be a situation where this person is like a 0 out of 10. We're not talking about that. It could be a situation where you're like, oh, okay, it's all right. Like there might not be like a, oh my God, he is bath type thing. It might just be like, oh, it's nice, I like him. And then as you get to know them a bit more, you're like, okay, I'm feeling that attraction now, because I think sometimes as well, it's interesting because there's two schools of thought. So for example, let me ask this question to you guys. If you were going on a first date with a girl, and let's say you saw her, you're like, okay, yeah, she's pretty, right? Because I know guys, that pretty for guys is cute for girls, I think, in a way. When a guy says, oh yeah, she's pretty, okay. So I think if you went on a date with someone, you're like, okay, she's pretty, and let's say, for example, you didn't feel any like butterflies or like any kind of like ooh kind of thing. You felt calm, there was no sort of, I don't know, nerves or anything. Would you take that as a sign that you're not attracted to that girl?
I'm pretty sure that's to you, gents.
Yes, the guys. Guys.
Sorry, can you repeat the question? I don't understand the question.
I'm saying you go on a date and you're like, oh, okay, this girl's pretty. You don't feel any butterflies or any like deep like, oh, she's buff type thing, but you know, she's super cool, she's got vibes, she's nice, you get along, you're having fun, right? But there's no butterflies, there's no nothing. Would you go on a second date, or would you be like, I'm gonna lock this off?
She must be in my league. That's why I'm not going to butterflies.
It's a trick question.
What do you mean?
She must
Explain.
be in my league. That's the reason why I'm not getting the butterflies.
Meaning that her
I don't feel intimidated because I believe that she's in my range.
Right.
The only reason I'm getting butterflies is when someone's not in my range. I'm going to be honest with you, and that's just the honest truth. If I start looking at myself and comparing, I'm like, this is got my range. Maybe I should not my range. Butterflies might kick in. A little bit of anxiety might kick in. I got to make sure I'm being okay. You know what I mean? I start being a bit more conscious. But if I'm not sweating and feeling butterflies, the reason why is because, in all honesty, you're in my range. That's not a bad thing. It just means we're on the same level.
So yeah, okay. So to you, you're on the same level. Would you go on a second date?
Absolutely. Why not?
Okay.
Absolutely. Especially if the vibes are there.
Are you looking for that butterfly feeling?
Nope.
Nah.
Let me ask you
butterflies.
this, Coach. Are you looking for that aspirational beauty? That's what I want.
Oh, not necessarily, no. If I'm looking to settle down, no. I'm looking for someone on my level.
Okay.
You know, y'all don't know how I think. Aspirational beauty is for...
So basically, what he's saying is, Kojo's future wife.
She's a baddie to me, but I'm saying that she's in my range.
To him.
No, you're a baddie to me, but you're in my range. Do you know what I'm saying? You're a baddie to me, but you're in my range. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Yeah, I'm not batting out my league. You understand what I'm saying to you? We're in the same level, comparable. You might be slightly better than me, but you're not like a whole league out of my league. Do you know what I'm saying to you?
No, just don't say that. Just stick to, you are absolutely beautiful. Just stick to that.
I mean, I'm never gonna say that to the woman. That's a Solomon Bucci. I'm not gonna pull that.
But, I mean, you said it on YouTube now, so it's here for the rest.
And the internet loves whatever. So
yeah. What do you think?
Out there, listen. If you're listening out there, listen. I think you're a freaking baddie. So don't listen to these girls. I think you're a baddie. I'm saying that we are on the same league. Baddie does not mean that you're out of my league. I'm saying you're a baddie to me. You know what I'm saying to you?
Keep
I'm gonna kill out right away.
No, I'm just joking.
Oh.
But Jay,
I know what you're doing, Precious.
Huh?
I know what you're doing. You're drawing man out. I know what you're doing.
I'm not drawing him out at all. Never. I would never draw Kojo out. Jay, what's your answer?
For me?
Yeah.
I'm single, so I can answer anyway. So
Repeat the question again.
So you go on a first date, the girl's pretty, right? But you're not feeling that, oh my god, she's buff feeling. She's cool, personality's great, you're getting along. But there isn't like this initial like, oh, I want to rip her clothes off. And there's no butterflies. Would you go on a second date?
No, because it's not gonna come.
Why
The way
not?
I am, before we even go on a first date, I already feel that way towards you. You know,
So
go on.
so I'm saying you think she's pretty, right? But there's
Well,
not a urge to like rip her clothes off because she's pretty.
okay.
You, her,
The
and
best
her
way to explain
personality
it.
is on point, huh?
No, the best way to explain this is
Yeah.
it's a trick question.
Okay.
Because as men, if we feel that she's genuinely pretty, we're gonna feel a certain way.
Okay.
Yes.
There's no such thing as we feel that she's nice, and we're not gonna feel nothing. What? Like,
No,
forget
but
about butterflies.
I feel like
Butterflies
when
is a
guys
different
say-
story.
I feel like when guys say a girl is pretty, that's like when guys think girls say a guy is cute.
No, if we say she is pretty, we genuinely feel like that she's nice.
Same.
Yeah, there's no, like you said, we're very direct. There's no confusion.
Okay.
If we don't feel you're nice, we're not gonna say it. I mean, unless we want to play games, as you know, there's some manipulators and things like that. Cool, but we're
Right.
very direct. We're very direct. We will say, okay, if we're going to be mature about it, we will say exactly how we feel. That's why I say it's a trick question, because if you feel that you're pretty and all that stuff, we're going to be like, okay, yeah, I want some of you. If we do not feel that way, then I mean, we're either going to just not even entertain you, or there's some guys out there that will still go and do what they want to do, but they already know in their minds they're not going to take you beyond what you're willing to give them.
But isn't there like, I know you guys sometimes say there's women out there that you think are really attractive, but you're not attracted.
I don't know what you're talking about.
We've had this conversation before, David.
I said it though. I said it.
We've been in this,
Not
we've
me.
had this conversation.
Not me.
Okay, all right. Okay. All right. Touche, sir.
To
Touche.
me, there's no such thing. If I find you attractive, you're attractive. That's it.
Okay. Fair enough.
Oh, you guys are killing me.
The hopscotching and the twirling right
But
now.
you know what though? I understand what they mean. They don't think like us. They really don't.
Exactly.
It's you either is or you either ain't. And I think it's very black and white.
It is
By
incredible.
the way, let me just say this, yeah. If a man ever said to me, nah, she's all right, but I'm gonna date her. Listen, don't you dare ever, never in your life. You have to look at me and think I am absolutely gorgeous or bust. And that's it.
Yeah.
So
no,
can I just say this first and foremost? Precious done set me up because she didn't answer the question the way she asked Jay the question. She added the whole no. When you said it to me, you were talking about butterflies.
No,
I don't really
I
care
said
about
that.
butterflies.
No, I said that.
I didn't hear nothing about if
you weren't
if you
listening, you
see
weren't
her
even
and you.
listening.
That's well,
You
no.
weren't
I
there.
asked you to ask me again. The first thing you asked me, and I asked me.
So did he.
Butterflies.
I said that. You can ask Charlene, she'll back to me. I said butterflies. Jay,
No,
don't try. I said
No.
butterflies.
No. I'm not saying you to say butterflies. I'm saying what you said to Jay. You added about 2 or 3 extra things. Which I mean, when I heard it, I was like, wait, hold on a minute. Yeah, I wouldn't go on a second date either. But if you just said about butterflies,
no, I said the exact same thing. I said
no. Okay, ask me what you asked Jay. Go on.
I couldn't. I said if you think she's pretty, but
she's not
there's
buff.
not that initial like, oh, I want to rip her clothes off, or like
That's not what you asked me.
butterflies, that thing.
You said butterflies to me.
She's got butterflies and like feeling that thing. I said that to him. Okay, and there's not that initial kind of I want to rip her clothes off, but she's got cool vibes. You really get along with her. You know, she keeps your interest. Would you go on a second date?
Yeah. Okay. I would, because I think for me, the ripping the clothes off part, right? It's not as a big a deal, right? Yeah. For me, at the first jump, because I don't like having that initial energy all the time. Sometimes because I feel like it misleads me. I'm because I carry a lot of sexual energy often, so that is a misleading energy for me personally. That's not for everybody. For me personally, so if I know that I'm attracted to her, she's pretty, because what pretty means attracted. So for me, if she's pretty, you know what I mean. And when I say, okay, so let me break it down. For me, pretty, there's a certain type of look. Because if I'm saying pretty, I mean it in a particular way. So if I say you're beautiful, it's because I see you in a particular way. If I say pretty, you have a certain type of look. If I say sexy, it's because you carry a certain type of energy or a look style. I can't explain it in full detail in that way, but when I see it, I know it, right? So if you're pretty to me, you're attractive to me, right? You're attracted to me. Okay, so for me personally, if that's the case, I'll go on a second date. If you got good vibes, good energy, we can talk and converse. I'll be happy to go on a second date. The ripping clothes part will come later on. I don't really mind about that. But that initial, if I'm attracted to it can be pretty fine. You know, the ripping of the clothes can come off a little bit later. You know what I mean? We're gonna talk about it though, because I need to make sure that you're not a fridge, because we can't have that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I agree because there's a lot of research on it that is a healthy response on the first date. This whole kind of, I need to feel this instant spark and I need to feel this instant butterflies and rip your clothes off. There's research to indicate that's a trauma response actually. So
actually, yeah, butterflies, yeah. Anxiety.
Yeah, so I think that's why I was asking, because I'm like, actually, a lot of people will go into a first date and I didn't feel a spark, I didn't really feel an attraction, and then they'll be like, oh, we're not doing this. But actually, it doesn't mean that can't happen, and it's actually a healthier way of entering that dating transaction. If that's not there, that's why I asked the question. To be fair, but sorry, Kojo, I didn't want to make you feel singled out because I wasn't doing that.
No, not at all. You didn't make me feel singled out. I just wanted to correct the audience there before they got the wrong perception.
Everyone, did you see a couple fight? Yeah.
Sorry, say that again. Jay, what did you say? Well, I
think he wants me to tell you that you look pretty.
Well, but you can't say that if you don't mean it.
But I do. But anyway, go on, Jay. Go on.
Yo.
What is wrong with you lot?
Sorry, Jay.
I'm definitely boxed right now.
All I wanted to say, you know me already. I like to give my real life experience because for me it's the best rather than just being theoretical. I've been in my missus over a year. Let's say we've been talking for, I guess, 18 months. I still look at her like she's the most beautiful girl in the world. My eyes show that. My touch shows that. Even while we've been on this live, I've been messaging her saying, different things like waking up to her in the morning. I just want to stare at you, things like that. Not in a stalking way. No one get carried away. You can
stalk your girlfriend. Don't worry about that.
Let's not say that in this climate, because people take that out of context. So please not.
That's true.
Not. So for me, that's why I say I cannot fathom being with someone who I genuinely don't feel like I can be that with, because I see how that reflects on her, how she feels maybe sexy, how she feels, whatever she needs to feel from me, that, okay, my man actually finds me attractive, finds me beautiful. Like he finds me appealing. I love that. Like, she looks at me the same way. I can't fathom it myself. However, I understand there are people who are together or married where that maybe has come later, or it's not there at all and they're married for other reasons. I understand, each to their own. But just for me personally, I can't do it. And like I said, I've been in situations where I could have done it, but there is a certain part of me that is not, that they can't access, because I don't look at you a certain way, and I don't want to do that to a woman. I don't want a woman to be with me knowing that me as a man doesn't find her as attractive. That causes all types of trauma, insecurities, all that stuff. I don't want to do that. So I'd rather just, end it.
Facts.
Love those points. Thank you, guys. I love that. And listen, I think also as well, like, you can find different things attractive. Do you know what I mean? Like when I say that, I'm talking about There are different. That's why I would categorize beauty, pretty. We all see things kind of in different ways. There are different types of beauty that you see. Do you know what I mean? But in all honesty, I think any man out there, you're not gonna jump into a situation if you're not. Well, let me not say any. Some people are desperate, but a lot of us men will not jump into a situation we don't find you attractive. It's just that simple. You know what I mean? Like, we're not gonna waste our time and our energy doing that. It's just it's not worth the effort, because you're not attracted to that person. That's not going to make a long-term relationship work. Now, if you're trying to get into bed, even that, some men can't even do that. Some men can't even do that when they're not even attracted, as Jay just pointed out. So, like that attraction piece is a really key part. But let me ask a question then. I don't know if anyone has ever been in a situation. If not, I'll move on to the next question. What happens if you're dating somebody or married somebody, but we're all dating here because we ain't married, and you find yourself losing attraction? It's a sharp intake right there. What happens in that scenario? Who wants to take that?
So I'll go on this one as everyone's thinking. But you know what? This scenario for me hasn't happened based on I don't find you physically attracted anymore. It's more so to do with the character and what you're displaying towards me. And it's a horrible situation to be in, because as we know, some people can be great looking, but their characters can be so ugly, just terrible. And that can that can have an effect. So to me, it's a horrible situation, but I don't know. All I had to do in that situation was just communicate. Now, I didn't say I don't find you attractive. That's a very dangerous thing to get into. But I had to address in general where it was coming from, the source. And, it's up to the person what they wanted to do. And by the way, I'm not saying that hasn't happened to me anyway. It's something that can happen to a lot of people. But for me, it's just an absolute horrible situation to be in. But in terms of not finding a person physically attractive anymore, I've never been in that situation. It's just been about more emotional and character and things like that.
I would say for me, it's almost same to Jay, that a person physically attractive, cool, I can recognize it. But I've been in a situation in a previous relationship where definitely the character that was displayed to me was unappealing. It was not flattering, and my attraction for that person based upon their character just diminished. And I think when you're in that particular space, you will try and find whatever reasons you have to want to stick it out with this person because you still love them. So you may go through all sorts of mental gymnastics to try and justify why you should make it work, because you have this hope that maybe they will change. But if their character is not changing, if there's no indication of any form of improvement, that attraction is just going to go down, down, and down, and you find yourself being mentally affected by it. So you have to definitely address it, talk about it, or if there is no resolve, you just got to move on with it. And I've also had someone that same person tell me to my face that she didn't find me sexually attractive, or found it very difficult to be physically attracted to me. And there was a conflation of so many other factors towards that as well, with the character as well. Yeah, I've had a woman tell me to my face that I find it difficult to be sexually attracted to you. Bro. Yeah.
That really sucks, Jeff. I'm so sorry that you had to experience that. You don't deserve that at all.
I know, but it's something that I put myself through. I mean, it is what it is. It was a hard lesson, a very hard pill to swallow. But yeah, this is why I say it's not a good idea to ever be with someone that you're not physically attracted to, because of that reason, of the notion that's, well, in this case, someone can tell you to your face, I'm not really attracted to you like that. That is a massive blow to someone's ego and self-esteem, right? I think sometimes when these conversations, when we say, oh, physical attraction or sexual attraction is not something people should worry about. No, I say that it's very important for that reason alone. I say it's very important because there has to be something that makes you want to stick with this person for the rest of your life. There has to be. I mean, obviously, it's not something that you should ever tell someone like that, but hey, it's what it is. Oh, Jay, why are you shaking your head like that, bro?
Bro,
Yeah, it's because not your situation, but in reverse. I know of a guy who married a woman because of character, and the church that they belonged to was like a white garment type church where the women no
oh
jewelry,
Lord.
no makeup, no painting nails, basically no, as they say, dolling yourself up to look pretty and etc. But he also was a man who couldn't walk next to his wife because that's how embarrassed he was. He would walk like a couple of steps ahead. So as you're speaking, for me, I was like, why would you want to put yourself in that situation? Because it's horrible where your own husband or your wife doesn't want to be seen with you, or when walking around with people, just doesn't want people to think, oh, yeah, you're together, etc. I mean, it's not a great feeling. Like, and even in the US, you won't have seen this, but in the UK, there's a podcast where the lady said that she prefers medium ugly men because she wants people to look at the man and ask him, how did you get her? Or how did you get me? I mean, what?
No.
Like, at first I see it is your partner is meant to see you as the best.
Yes.
Like, to me, do you know what I mean? Again, I understand. Not everyone gets married based on those circumstances. I get it and I understand. I have no issues with those people. But for me, if I'm ever going to advise people, especially in our generation, if you do not find the person attractive, it's going to be a tough hill to climb. And don't get me wrong, I know a couple that's our age that has done it, but the way she will talk about her husband, like, I didn't find him attractive before, etc. Even I feel pain. I'm like, bruh, like, I wouldn't want me to start admitting those type of things. Like, but it is what it is.
And this is why, again, like, I think in our era, everything is so visual. For a reason, we are visual creatures. Whether we like to admit it or not, we are visual creatures. So when people act as if that physical attraction doesn't mean much in relationships, it's a lie. It's a flipping lie. Men find women attractive, women find men attractive. So of course, obviously, there's got to be a balance to it. But you should want to be with someone that you are proud to show, well, to your friends, to your family. Oh, this person is attractive. She's beautiful. And the character also matches along with the physical beauty. That's how it should be. But instead, we live in a time where if you only focus so much on the physical attraction, you're shallow and superficial. But if you don't, and you say, I'm just with a person because of their personality, then people question, how realistic are you with that? I'm not saying it can't be done, but I'm saying that there has to be a balance to it.
Ladies.
What about us? No, seriously, what's the question that you've got?
I don't know what the question was, but what I would say is just attach on that, because actually we've had this conversation before with the Americas. We're now having it with the UK people, and I was trying to see if I could find a video of a friend of ours who was talking about dating medium ugly. I think I found the clip. I found the clip for you guys. Hold on, I found the clip for you guys. Let's see. Hopefully it will play. Let me not expose my DMs. Hold on. Gotta be careful now. Alrighty. So, love you to see you, but yeah, you've come into firing.
that treat you really well. When you do the Denzels and the super fine guys, they have you chasing them. You need the medium ugly, then you will always be the prize. Don't know what they have, and those are the ones that want to drink your dirty bath water on national television. That you need to be dating medium ugly. Men are not meant to be cute, sweetheart. Okay, you're the man that.
Hold on. Sorry, my internet gone a bit booky. I apologize, guys. I'm guessing you didn't see it, did you? Because it went
No,
off.
the internet's doing you a favor, my G.
Hold on. We're gonna get this to play. Hold on, we're gonna get it to play. Hold on. In fact, you know what? Frick it. Just for that, it doesn't have to be seen. Doesn't even have to be seen. Hold on. I can't wait to change this laptop. A new laptop's already come. I cannot wait. Okay, hold on.
Are you getting a MacBook?
All right. Please.
Sir.
Please.
Get you over to the Apple.
We are sticking with the Android, and I've got enough iPhone. All right, cool. I'm gonna play on my phone, guys, because
Those are the ones that treat you really well. When you do the Denzels and the super fine guys, they have you chasing them. You need the medium ugly, then you will always be the prize. They'll know what they have, and those are the ones that want to drink your dirty bath water. And absolutely nothing has changed about that, okay? I told y'all on national television that you need to be dating medium ugly. Men are not meant to be cute, sweetheart, okay? You're the pretty one in the relationship, duh. All right? You need to be dating a man that is stable. You need to be dating for stability, for protection, for provision. A man that can lead you, okay? A man that you will have a great quality of life, all right? All of that cute stuff, we don't need all of that, baby. This is why Tyreek, that 6'5", with the six-pack abs, got you sliding down the wall into poverty. You need to be dating a man that is disciplined, a man that knows how to make $1 out of 15 cents, a man that is a leader of the pack, a renegade, a rule breaker, okay? Talk about lifestyle. You got to think big, baby.
yo, to see her be killing me, man. But she's funny, so I can't even be mad all the way.
Are you saying that she's joking?
No, she's being serious.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
That wasn't a joke. That was her being serious. That's genuinely being serious. So, you know, so medium ugly. You know, hey.
Let me just say this, Let me just say this. When the medium ugly man plays you, you're going to be mad at yourself. Okay? But let me also say this. The whole reason why people talk about the whole medium ugly guy is really you are afraid of being hurt. You want to have control in the relationship. And you think that if you're not that attracted to him, then you can keep him at arm's length and he won't abandon you. Because as Tasia said, he will want to drink your dirty bathwater. But let me just say this. Men of all attraction levels play, and men of all attraction levels cheat. And there are also some great guys of all attraction levels. So you trying to control things with the whole medium ugly thing controls absolutely nothing. And like I said, if he's going to play you, then he's going to play you. And you're going to end up feeling like an idiot because you tried your best to keep him at arm's length and it didn't work. And you still got played. But that kind of advice is diabolical and foolishness. And if you had said that she was joking, that would have been a better pill to swallow. But here we are.
Can I also add on to that?
Go, of course, go for it.
One can also indicate or infer that maybe she got done dirty by an attractive guy. Maybe she's dealing in insecurity that somewhere along the line, perhaps she dealt with a Tyreek with a 6-pack and stuff like that, and this guy did her dirty and stuff. So now, rather than seeking counseling and therapy, rather than actually doing the work to heal herself, now she's making a generalization saying, go for the medium ugly guys. So for someone to talk so much about stability and yet there's instability in her own thought process, just thought I put that out there.
And I also never trust advice that comes from pain. Sorry. It's always going to be distorted and I can't trust you.
Yep.
Sorry, baby girl. I just can't trust you.
Yes, do it for Jay.
Well, first of all, Precious, I do notice you're being quiet. So what's going on?
Because she dates me.
Okay. What I will say.
I want to clarify. I have never dated medium ugly in my entire life.
Okay, we're glad you clarified that.
Handsome only. Thank you very much. Leave me alone.
And you will never date medium ugly, isn't it?
Never.
Thank you. So when I come across, you know what it is, guys. I'm not.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for
Off
confirming.
your shit,
Thank you.
Presh.
Thank you for confirming. We appreciate you, Fresh. We appreciate you.
Why would I ever
appreciate
date medium ugly?
We appreciate you.
Appreciate you too.
Sorry. My bad, Jay. Go on.
No, I love it. It's a good day. But I even forgot what I was gonna say. But let me see if I can spend half a second to remember. I cannot, so I'm just gonna.
Bruh.
No, actually, I remember now. Anyway. Yeah, personally, I agree with Charlene. Just the whole speaking. I just think we all have to be careful of listening to advice from people who are speaking from pain. Just in general, even away from this subject. We've had people that have come on this channel. I'm not going to mention names right now. And the way they speak, you can see if you're going to be proper about it and not just join them on their bandwagon, you can see where they're speaking from. And let's be honest, we all would have concern about, okay, if these, I can't even say what I want to say, but if people are going to truly take advice from these people, we all have concern about what that's going to create. So we have to be careful and not just jump on bandwagons, because this whole medium ugly man, or guys don't say this, but I'm still going to say medium ugly woman. In fact, no, that's even wrong thing that I said. I know a guy that married a particular woman and said, I married her because she's going to attract less men. Therefore, she's going to be less of a headache. As soon as he had his kids, obviously he needed papers. As soon as he had his kids, she was gone, and he went to go marry someone that he actually wanted to be with, someone that he actually found attractive. So yeah, on both sides, this does actually happen, to be honest with you. But we have to be careful about where that comes from, because I think me and Kojo months ago, we had a live where we discussed this, because on a particular panel, there was women who were basically saying that they believe that a woman should have less love for the man than a man has for her. All of this is based off trauma and wanting to be in control of the situation, believing if he hurt you, maybe you're not going to feel as, as upset with the situation. But the truth is, in those situations, what do we have ladies say? I was too good for him anyway. He was lucky to have me anyway. All this type of talk. And it just doesn't help anyone. Like, to me, I don't understand it. Like, dating a man who isn't as attractive is not an automatic, it's not going to automatically resolve whatever issues that you have with men. The same way, vice versa, it's not going to happen. To me, date who you want. It's okay. No problem. But honestly, you want to see your partner as the best, and you want your partner to see you as the best. Like that, off camera, we had a conversation about inspiration. That there, for me, like, my missus to be seeing me as like, okay, Jason is the mwah of all. It does something to me, and vice versa. Like, that's how I want to feel. So That's all for me. I don't get this conversation. For us as men, most of us are black and white. This is what it is. And you know, we only go forward with someone who we're not attractive to based on getting what we want to get from her, which most of the time is to do with sex anyway. And when it comes to that department, most guys can perform. And to give context, it wasn't that in my situation I couldn't perform. It's just that I was scared that I may not be able to because I wasn't really interested. But this girl was a girl who footballers date and things like that. I just didn't really care. I just didn't find that attractive. So I was given something, and you know, whatever happened will happen. But yeah, we're just different. I think the whole conversation is really based around the difference between men and women. We just think differently. That's all it is.
Can I also say, yeah, that this whole energetic of keeping the man as far away from you as possible so that you stay in control, so that you don't get hurt, is the thing that breaks marriages apart. Because you never come into union. You never allow him energetically to get close enough to you to come into actual union. And what happens when you're dating is that you end up playing games. You end up playing games of who can be the most detached and who can, you know, not get hurt. And you end up being the player. You end up being the person that hurt you. And so I just think this whole thing of I don't want to get hurt, that's the thing that needs to be dealt with. You know, why don't you just deal with that? And I really just wish you would not do any more videos. I feel that strongly about it because this is foolishness.
Charlene, as long as there's ways for pain to be monetized, there's always going to be videos like this, unfortunately. And we live in a time where rather than people seeking to be of use to each other, people now are trying to find ways to use each other. That's what it simply just comes down to. Everybody is now coming into dating or relationships from a pain point of perspective. You're jaded based upon your last experience, so then you project your previous experience onto the next man, onto the next woman. So now it's like, I'm in it to win it. I'm going to find ways to make use of this person. Forget character. I'm going to see what I can get out of this woman before she can get something out of me. So we're turning each other into competition rather than saying, hey, we're looking to work with each other. So when you see women or men like that, whether it's the red pill manosphere movement, whether it's unfortunately jaded women like this, unfortunately pain on it's too easy nowadays for pain to be monetized. It's easy nowadays for people to fearmonger. It's easy nowadays for people to make salacious statements like that. And unfortunately, there are going to be men and women that eat it up because they don't want to deal with the nuance of life. They don't want to deal with pain. They're very pain avoidant, not understanding that whether you like it or not, pain is something that we all humans have to go through. Now, the toxicity aspect of it, there are things we could do to mitigate it, but how many people are willing to do the self-work to say, hey, yes, I had a bad experience, but that bad experience doesn't necessarily define me.
What a waste of energy.
Yep.
It's beautiful. JR, welcome to the conversation, bro. Welcome to the conversation.
Good evening, everyone. Hope all is well.
Hey.
And a couple of ladies looking for you, bro.
They're always looking for him. It's not because of your personality either.
Listen, there's some people that are definitely coming after me because of my personality, apparently. People, I'm catching,
That's
catching
positive,
heat.
that one.
But yeah, interesting convo. I think the danger with dating someone that you're not attracted to is it kind of makes you feel like you're more attractive than them, and it can manifest in behaviors that are going to hurt the person. And when you're falling in love with someone and you're investing that emotional connection and the time I think it can be very tough to have that type of relationship dynamic. If like I've been there where, you know, I've had a relationship where I probably was that schmedium guy. And I tell you what, anytime there was an argument, I got reminded of that. So yeah, I know it's crazy, isn't it? But yeah, it's like it would come out in behaviors. So I know what it's like to be on the receiving end of that. But I personally wouldn't do it myself. Like if I'm attracted, like attraction is a very key component of why I'm going to be in a relationship with someone. And it's not the only thing. There are lots of things that I find attractive in order for me to get there, but beauty is only skin deep. And if I invest that time to get to know you, open up myself, be vulnerable and all that stuff, and you're not feeling me in terms of attraction, then I'm sure there's going to be a lack of affection. There's going to be some choice words when you get mad. There's going to be a harsher tone, harsher delivery, because you don't rate me. You feel what I'm saying? So, but I wouldn't want to put any lady that I date in that position. I'm staying in my lane. I know my league. You know, I'm not going to punch above my weight. And I've never actually punched above my weight as far as I'm concerned. So, like I said, I feel like it is a childish way to look at it. If you're setting out to automatically date someone that you know you're not really attracted to them, you're probably attracted to what they can do for you or how they make you feel, rather than, you know, them being wowed by you and your physical. And yeah, like I said, it's a slippery slope, because you're setting the relationship down a very tumultuous path where, you know, the moment something goes wrong, you're gonna throw it in their face. You're gonna use it against them, that they're not as aesthetically pleasing to you. So don't think it's gonna work.
Wait, JR. Wait, do you remember?
Yeah.
Do you remember a while back in the chat, like on Instagram? Like, I don't know if it was Precious or Charlene that sent it, but there was this video where I think three women were talking about an experience where a guy said to his girl, I think maybe he might have been drunk, but he said to the effect, "I wish you were white."
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
White, like that whole. It's actually kind of sad when, if you're able to tell somebody to the face that you're not physically appealing for whatever reason, the emotional damage you can do to a person, you might set them on a trajectory where they just do some wrecky stuff.
Dear. Look, you're right. Listen, people make content, and a lot of the time it's stemming from hurt, it's stemming from fear, it's stemming from anxiety, and you know, people buy into it because they're feeling the same thing, or they've gone through the same thing, or they live vicariously through that person, right? And color, you know, when you're getting into that type of rhetoric, then it's even more of a slippery slope, because the internet's forever. And even if your preference change, your views are still up there, right? So never a good thing to do that.
I'm gonna say something, yeah, that some people might not be happy with me about, but it's something that is, happens a lot that I see. You ready? Sure,
Ready,
you ready?
bro?
Ready?
Fire away.
So, especially from a Christian context, right? The conversations are always usually about character. Now, none of us here are saying because we need that attractiveness that's the only thing we're going to pay attention to. We know that causes its own problems, but we're giving things in context with balance. That is the attraction that's initially going to bring us in, but obviously it's your character, our union, how we are together, etc. That's going to maintain what we have. But what I've noticed, in fact, not just even in the church, but also outside of the church, is that certain people, because of how they feel about their characters, I'm going to say that again, because of how they feel about their characters, they overinflate their attractiveness. And then they go for men or women who are just not in their league. Men or women who actually do not find them physically attractive. And this is dangerous. Because when you're doing this to yourself, you might think you're of a certain standard, of a certain way, but it doesn't mean that the other person does. And I've seen this a lot of the time. And I mean, I feel like women are a lot more bolder to tell a man, this is how I exactly feel about you, especially with what the guys are saying here. But as men, I mean, we know it's a it's a catch-22 situation. Like we know what it's going to do to you, way more than it will do to a guy. And that's what we understand. As women, you're made differently. You think differently. Your emotions are shown differently. The way you will deal with a guy saying that you're not attractive is going to be a lot more of a bigger blow than if it's going to the other way. We understand this. So guys don't usually say this, but it shows up in their behavior. And I feel like if, instead of thinking that because of your character that you can, get this higher standard man, for me personally, is just don't even think about it like that. Just know that your character is gonna attract a type of man who's gonna meet your character and who's gonna love you in the way that you need and appreciate the type of person that you are. Forget about, okay, I can go for this guy who is a pretty boy or a guy who all the girls like, etc. Because ultimately he still has to find you attractive and vice versa. And I feel like this is all part of the problem. Because in the Lulu world that we have, the Lulu's delusion that we have in today's world, where people are just not realistic with, I don't want to use this term, but their marketplace value. I'm not talking about sex, forget about all that stuff and all that body count, or whatever, forget about all that stuff. I'm just talking about how genuinely do people see you? Because if you keep going for the top and you keep getting disappointed, there is an aspect of where your look might not fit into that top of what they usually go for. So you have to be careful. And I say this to women and men, by the way, to say, just be realistic. I have a guy who used to do this all the time, and his heart always used to be broken. And don't get me wrong, his missus is pretty, but he's made a different choice in terms of her actual look. He's married now. He's enjoying life. He's completely happy. But I had to have that same conversation with him. Like, bro, these types of girls may entertain you, but they do not look at you in the same way that they look at a different type of guy. So you have to understand what you keep putting yourself into. And I'm not saying people are, and I'm not trying to say don't see yourself as, pretty or handsome or anything. I'm just saying to you, don't just focus on how you feel that you are. Understand where are you operating? How do these people actually view you? Right? Because there are people that might go for a different type of race, by the way, because they see, they might see you as, something special, whereas maybe where your origin doesn't. These are all conversations that happens, but that's what I've noticed, is that some certain people are unrealistic about where they place. I know it's not a great conversation to have, but it's one where a lot of people do hurt themselves because of it.
Can I just ask for a little bit of clarification, please, Jane?
Not her putting on the sweet voice.
Can't hear you.
Let me talk for her. What she said is that she wants a little bit more clarification.
On?
You said You said some people are going to be offended by this. Who is meant to be offended by that, Jay?
The
I want to
people
know where
who, the
bullets are
people,
being aimed at.
the people, the men or women
Okay.
who know that their general look is not the look that a lot of people might say, wow, you look amazing, compared to what they usually see out there because of society, because of culture, or whatever. But they feel that their character trumps all of that.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to say might be offended because of how they feel about themselves, because there are certain truths that they probably would have noticed in their lives. For example, growing up, there was a certain type of girl that I would have said, you look beautiful, but I'm not even going to go there because I know that you do not see me as those type of guys. Do you know what I mean? That's what I mean. Okay. For context, I was not talking about you, Precious. I was just talking about gender, so I don't know what was.
No. It's because you made it sound like we in the group chat were saying that. So I was like,
No.
So that's why I was confused.
It's not generally. No.
Levels have to be known. Levels have to be known. Jay, that's absolutely right. Everyone's got to know their levels. And if you're not that guy to that girl, it's kind of long. Just gonna be honest with you, it's kind of long. If you're not that guy, now she's explaining it to the group chat and saying, before I show you the picture, he is amazing. You know how messed up that is? You know how, and do you know how you know that? You know that because she doesn't say you're sexy, she doesn't say you're fine. I go back to what I said at the very beginning. She says you're nice, you're cute, you know. Even you have to be careful. You have to even be careful of handsome sometimes, because handsome is sometimes can be a little bit tricky. You know what I mean? But it's a little bit borderline sometimes. To be honest with you, sometimes even handsome can be a little bit borderline. But cute and he's nice. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna tell you the truth. We know. Listen, that lady will tell you within a few seconds whether you're good looking or not. Do you know? Listen, you just know when that girl says, "Oh," I've had one girl. Listen, one girl said to me, she was like, "Oh," and then she's, you know what I mean? Or when they use an expletive before they say how good looking you are, you're good looking to that person. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Like, don't settle for less, people. That's what I'm trying to say. Man, let's not settle for less. Don't settle for that girl because she's fire, but she doesn't look at you like you fire. You know what I'm saying? Right? Because you'll always be you'll always be in tow. You'll always be in lieu. You'll always be in the background trying to catch up. There's no point. Go for somebody that likes you the same way, that with the intensity that you like them. And I'm saying that there's always going to be men out there who will willingly put their pocket ahead of everything else.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
What would you do if a woman actually said to you, you know what, Kojo, he aight.
I'm in a wrong relationship, clearly. No, I'm being deadly serious. Listen, I'm being deadly serious. I must have misjudged it. Because let me just be real with you. Spending time with women and dealing with certain types of women, which women are gonna deal with you. Look, some will even deal with you on a particular basis, but never date you. Same way as us guys do sometimes, right? But when that girl likes you. You know what I'm saying? You know when she's attracted to you, your face, she's attracted to your body, she's attracted to everything about you. Everything about you makes sense to her. You know what I mean? You know when it makes sense that even when they're next to you, they're even smelling you. Listen, look, when they're on you, when they put their hand on your chest, they even want to remove their hand from the chest. You understand? Yeah. When they can't stop touching you, that's when you know. And that's for the jump. I'm not talking about when you're in a relationship later on, because of course people grow in a relationship and get comfortable and familiar. So those things can come along. But I'm saying early on, when they can't even, they want to be around you, but they're even scared, they're a bit anxious about being around you. Yay! Please don't settle for less, okay? Yeah. It's he's I. You know what I mean? You're going back to tell your girlfriends that, listen, girls, before you say anything, he's a YouTuber. He has many subscribers. Okay. He's got Nyash, look, and he's chocolatey. Like, those descriptions are not helping nobody. Those descriptions are not helping anybody. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want that, okay? I want you to see me and be like, whew. And the reason why is because once everything's stripped away, let's be honest, there are gonna be days when you're gonna look at each other and say, you know what, you're freaking hot, but you're annoying. If you're ugly and annoying, it's a double whammy. And I can tell you this for sure. You know, remember you're in school? Remember that? Remember, there's always, and both women and men can testify to this, there's always that one person who was ugly to you that was doing too much. They're always on your case. They're the one that's asking you, are you okay? Texting you, calling you at the wrong time. When you get a phone call or a message and you wanted that girl that you like to text you, and instead it's that girl that's messaging you. You know there's one person in your life that was always doing that thing. That's the kind of energy you're going to have for your partner when you realize how ugly they are in a relationship. Because when everything's worn off and then you've had your final argument, you are going to look at them and be like, you're now that girl or that guy who, when he was texting you in school, like you saw the message like, he's messaging me again, or she's messaging me again, or she's calling me again, or she's coming over now to come and have a conversation. You know exactly what that feels like. Y'all don't like it. I don't want to see that in your relationships, guys. Don't settle, okay? Don't settle.
Bro, if I stop, continue.
Coach, I'm gonna add to that as well, yeah?
Yes, pass the baton on, go on. Run that leg.
Ladies, I'll be surprised if you haven't done this at least once, where your friend has broken up with someone, and based on the man's look, you have said, well, you could have done better anyway. I'm surprised you even went for that. So it happens. I mean, I've had ladies actually genuinely say to me, for their friends to say, like Kodja, like you're saying, when they show the picture, they're like, yeah, oh my gosh. They love it. They don't want their friends to get with their man, of course, but they love it. They love it. So, I mean, I'm not saying every woman is like that, of course they're not, but these are the points that's being made. As guys, do you know what? We do want our guys to find our women attractive, so to speak, but we're not so wrapped up in we want if we're mature, that we want our men to look at our women as like tasty, because we're just different and we know what comes of that. Looking at your woman's bum and all that type of stuff, that's not happening. But it happens, you know what I mean? These are conversations that happen. These are things that people actually admit. And just like the reverse is actually, spoken about as well. Like I can't, in fact, I like to give my real life circumstances. My missus actually said to me that her friends and her family actually said that Jason is the best guy you've been with. I mean, that means nothing to me, but imagine those guys from before. I'm like, rah. Your friends and your family actually look that deep. Like, rah, okay. But to the guy, they're like, oh, hi, you're nice, you're this, you're that. That means to me, like, yo, a lot of people out here lying. They're really lying.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, man. Like, this is why I feel the way I feel. Like, honestly, I'll say it again. You want your missus to look at you as like, wow, like, mwah. You want your man to look at you and say, look, wow, mwah. It just does something differently. Because to me, if you don't look at that person as attractive, or to me, you're just settling. But I know that might be a bit controversial, but to me, you're just settling. And what you're settling is for other things that person might come with. They might be rich.
That's
these ugly uncles, whether they in fact, there's a show. It's not Housewives of Dubai. It's called something else. But I remember watching that and seeing one typical normal looking guy, belly, everything else, and looking at his wife thinking, how on earth did you get that? It's because of money. And she was throwing tantrums. She was doing all sorts. She threw a tantrum because her wardrobe is too small in her mansion, and told him, buy me a bigger mansion so I can fit my clothes in. And I'm like, what is going on here? But anyway, I don't want to talk too much because it start getting controversial. But we see this and we can admit, how did he get her? Because of money. So I mean, you don't want to really talk about like that, because once what's attracting you goes, then what? So anyway, if I start talking, it'll be a different scenario. So let's go.
I think the thing also that we have to remember is people prioritize attraction in a different order to how some other people may do it, right? So if it depends what stage you are in life, what's going on in your life, what attracts you to the person that you're into, right? So yeah, like we do hear a lot about women wanting provision from men and all that. Do they prioritize that provision over the aesthetics? Like would they wake up with that big belly man because he's providing certain things for them in terms of, you know, paying the bills or like the mortgage or the house or whatever? Or, you know, is there the case that where it's the opposite, where the guy may be attractive, but he doesn't have 2 pennies in his pocket at one given time? You feel what I'm saying? So, you know, it depends on the way that it's prioritized. And I'll also say, like, we do also see a lot of it's done in humor, but I think there is some truth to it. You know, like when you see those videos where like the lady might be in the kitchen or in the living room doing something, and her man just walks past her and doesn't pat the booty, doesn't smack her on the butt, and she feels a way about it because she's like, how can you just walk past me? Right? When your guy's feeling you, he's gonna be all over you. Like any opportunity he gets, he's not gonna see you, but he's gonna let it be known that he finds you attractive, right? Now, I want to say that as men, like, we probably need that as well, but obviously not the pat on the butt, but we need some type of affirmation that you're feeling us as well, some type of reinforcement. Yeah, don't just walk past me like I'm some stranger in the house, or, you know, don't just talk to me any kind of way. Like, there has to be something that you do when you see me to give me the vibes that you're actually interested, right? Not just lip service either, but I'm not even saying like PDA all the time or anything, but I'm saying there has to be something that makes me feel like you're feeling me, and I'm definitely going to be showing you how I'm feeling you. I think when attraction is prioritized by one person and the other person doesn't, then there's that potential for someone's feelings to get hurt when they're not being shown that type of attention. Yeah. And that type of hurt can manifest as a form of rejection as well. So it may play on their self-esteem. And if the person that is doing this knows what they're doing and how it's making you feel, then you definitely know the writing's on the wall for that relationship, because you're gonna be at a losing position all the time. You're gonna always want validation from your partner, and if they're not the type of person that wants to give it, or they don't think of you highly enough or rate you highly enough to give it, like involuntarily, like innately, if they'd feel warm enough with you to be able to do that, then you gotta get out of that relationship. It's not love.
Do you know what I'll say? Yeah, I think that women rationalize these types of things in ways that men just don't. And you guys are more black and white about it. Like I said earlier, that you're either attracted to her or you're not. But I think that we as women, we talk ourselves into things. We rationalize things, not just looks, but other things as well. And I wish we wouldn't do that. And I'll leave it there.
One of the things we hear a lot is a sense of humor. You know, like typically a sense of humor. If your guy's gonna banter with you or make flirtatious comments to you, usually, like we're expecting to, how can I say, we're expecting to do that to show appreciation to you, right? That's why we're banting with you, we're flirting with you, we're playing little kiss chase and you know, all those type of things, dropping the lyrics and spitting game and bars and all that stuff, because we're trying to show you we're attracted. But again, the reciprocation is important as well, or at least being aware that because that person is attracted to you, then you know there is an obligation. If you're in a relationship, then show something back. Don't just sit back and enjoy all the compliments coming your way, and then you're not prepared to, like, you don't find your partner attractive enough for you to reply with something. May not even necessarily be equally, because you may be awkward or inhibited in some way, but you know, just being able to reciprocate or receive and then reflect what's given back, what's being shown to you, that can go a long way.
Appreciate it. Any more thoughts on that? I was going to open up to some people in the chat, see if they wanted to come and add to the conversation. But if you've got any more thoughts, please go ahead. This is an interesting conversation to see where you guys are taking it. You get me? Yeah, that's what I'm saying to you. Y'all taking it somewhere. No thoughts? Well, someone's mic is doing Scooty Woof. Who is that?
Actually, one thing, because I guess it's interesting listening to what you guys are saying. But like, what if it's a situation where, like, your partner's friends and possibly family like to make the joke that your partner is punching with you? How does that affect? How do you feel that affects the relationship?
That needs to be shut down immediately. You need to let your partner know, hey, listen, those jokes didn't run here. Please speak to your family. Let's keep those jokes on ice. Thank you.
No. I don't think you quite understand. I mean, as in, who's JL? What's going on? See, it's not even me this time. I mean, as in, for example, Kojo, let's say your girlfriend. Let's say your family and your friends are saying to you, "Rah, you're punching, you know. Your girl is punching. How does that? What happens? How does that?
So your girl is punching. They're saying that your girl's punching.
No, you are punching. They see your girl and they say, "Raji, you're punching." It feels different, doesn't it? It feels different.
No. Listen, the main thing is does she see me as a baddie? It's a baddie's the wrong word, but does she see me as the ish? Because whether people think that I'm punching or not makes no difference. Does she see? I told you the energy she gave me at the beginning. Does she see me as that fine boy? That's the question.
Okay, but what if she's like, let's say you make jokes about it and it's like funny, hee ha ha, and she's like, yeah, no, of course you're not. But it's a consistent thing that you are being told, like people are bantering, like, rah, the first time they meet her, oh, you're punching them, oh, like it's a thing, and then you start bringing it up here and there, and your girl is looking like, are you, like, is this an issue, or like, is this something I now have to reassure you about, or? And I say that because I have been in that position, and it's like you don't know really, like you're saying you're reassuring them, but it becomes a thing where it's like it's always being mentioned. And like, is this an insecurity now? What's happening? So that's why I'm asking.
JR looks ready to answer that question and Jay does because
you're like, wait, what? No, like you don't get it, but it's flattering, but also it's a bit like, why is this?
Yeah, you don't want to be hearing that.
Yeah, why is it always? At least the person's always telling me like, yeah, these people, like, oh yeah, they keep saying that I'm punching, ha ha hee ha, and I'm like, I get it because you got to banter me, but then I'm not sure if like you're offended, or is it because it's happening a lot, or what's happening? So that's it.
Boys, she's looking at you guys.
And I'm a bit, I don't know what this means.
She's looking at you guys. I don't know why you like shying away like you can't answer the question.
I asked you too, Pedro.
You're on mute.
Yeah, it's never happened to me. And I don't know anybody personally that's happened to. Usually, if you are dating someone who is like, if we're dating someone who is very attractive, there's usually a camaraderie that says, you know what, I rate you, or you did well, or that's a keeper, or they'll boost you up because you've done that. I don't think I've heard it the other way around where someone's like, bro, like, she's too fine for you, bro.
Oh no, it wasn't in that way. It was more in your way of like, raw, you're punching, you did well, like, okay, I see you, kind of thing. It was never an insult. It was more of a way of saying, okay, type thing. But do you know what I mean? It's still sometimes you're like, oh, like, do I have to? I don't know what to say.
Just
sorry, Jeff.
Don't use the word. Don't use the word punch. Because when I hear the word punching, there's a connotation behind it. Oh, bruv, like, really? How'd you get hurt? Like, how did you manage that? Like, you went above levels. When you were supposed to go from level 1 to level 2, you went level 5. Like, you're really punching, you know? I've never heard the word punching as in something to be positive. I've never heard of it, ever.
I've never heard it I've never heard someone say that. If they're dating a baddie or if they're dating like, I've never heard your homies, your friends, they'd never say that. No way.
I'm just gonna add to this here, and because I have to say this, there's also a difference in what type of people actually say that, because in certain communities, this is how they speak, this is how they bounce. In our community, we don't really do that.
So it's interesting because I heard a couple different things. I think attraction should not be that important. I think when we're choosing a spouse, we should use more parts of our brain than just one side. Attraction is just the initial, I guess, feeling that a person get. I think we all can say that we know that person who said that person wasn't attracted to him, and they fell in love with their personality, or they fell in love with who they was. If you get a person that's maybe average looking, that's an emotional, intelligent person, or you get an average looking person that's from a financial point of view, it's going to help you get to the place that you need to get to. I don't think that attraction is that important. And I think a lot of men get themselves in a bad situation because they lead with attraction and they don't use their whole brain.
I think that saying attraction isn't that important is one of the ways that people rationalize things that actually are important. And to me, it's not a case of whether it should be important or not. Is it important or not? And you have to be honest about whether it actually is important or not. But when you say things like it shouldn't be, then you're just in your head. Especially for women, it's not a good thing to just be in your head like that. You've got to feel it in your body. And when it comes to your forever love, your spouse, you're not just going to be Netflix and chilling with them. You're going to be sleeping with them. You're going to be eating with them. You're going to be planning, making money. You're going to be doing so many different things together. And so, yes, physical attraction, it definitely needs to be considered. That person that you're going to wake up next to every day, every night. Yeah, it's important, man. And I think it's a mistake to discount it.
So, and the reason that I say that it's not as important because what we see is physical attraction change over a relationship. If you look at someone who's been married for 40 years, that person don't look like they looked at when they was 19 or 20. So that's what I'm telling you. It's such a shallow thing. I'm not saying that you should be with somebody that is just butt ugly that nobody want. That's not my argument. But I'm just saying, when you really look at a marriage over the time, when you look 40, 60 years after a woman and had 4 or 5 kids, the idea that I'm have to be attracted, and that's kind of the foundation of our marriage, is very dangerous. And that's the point that I was making.
Ethan, can I ask you, would you, okay, I understand that when you're talking about initial, but would it stand to reason that obviously it is true that people's bodies is not going to be the same over time, but would it make sense for you to learn the person's physical body as they are going through that particular process? Like, you learn to find that person attractive as time goes on. Obviously, there's other things that you could be attracted to with the person. So there's a way of maybe seeing a person in a different light, obviously, as time goes on, based upon what you base your attraction on, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think intelligent people find other things to be attracted. Say, for example, if your wife gained weight, you might be attracted to her intellect, or you might be attracted to other things. One thing that I'm attracted to is the way that my wife is a mother to the kids. That's just a turn on to me. Like how she mothers my kids is something that I really enjoy. So this idea that I have to be physically, I'm mainly talking about the physical attraction. I just, in my mind, I think it's very low level thinking in a marriage.
And here's the thing. I just want to say something quickly. Sorry, JR. Just something.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Go ahead.
Just something quickly. I think that the couples that I have observed that have been together for like decades, right? Like 20, 30, 40 years. What I have found as a theme amongst those who have been successfully and happily married is that they have actually not just been attracted to them at the start. Their physical attraction has culminated over the years, and they're still horny for each other. They still want each other, and they still love one another. So I think that age isn't necessarily something that would shift physical attraction. Weight doesn't have to either, but I'm not going to get into weight so much. I just think that it's important not to discount what we need. And if one of the things that we need is physical attraction, I don't think that we should judge it as shallow or not shallow. It just is what it is. And so it's important to tell yourself the truth and be honest. Are you feeling them or not? And you have to base your decision on your life partner on the absolute truth of how you feel right now, and then assess that as the relationship moves forward. It's so important to just be honest with yourself.
And so I'm speaking from a man's point of view. I really can't speak from the woman's point of view. But if, say, for example, if Lil Black Book was married and he came to me and said, "Hey, I got 5 kids with this woman and I'm not attracted, and I'm about to break up my family," me and him about to have a real man-to-man talk. Like, are you serious that you're going to destroy your family over you not being attracted? I'm actually going to try to find ways to encourage him to find things that he do like about whatever the new her looks like or her presence. But I'm just against it. Lil Black Book could tell you that I'm for marriages staying together forever, especially when kids is involved. And I think that a lot of people make selfish decisions in those moments.
Well, I mean, I think, like, just from hearing the conversation, and I mean, I love what Charlene was saying, because it's where you start. And I think the important part is that baseline attraction needs to be there. And what I've found and heard all too often is one party saying that, oh, this person wasn't my type, and then fill in the blanks, and then it grew, and and then later on down the line, it's almost like one person feels like they have leverage over the other because they really weren't completely attracted to the person in the beginning. Mm-hmm. So I think that's what's important. I mean, obviously, when you're in a relationship, things do change. And I'm not saying we should just bail because you may something physically has changed in that particular person. So at the end of the day, I think there needs to be that base level attraction. And it's similar to what Charlene was saying. And what got my attention is, listen, you need to feel it in your body. And that's what I want. You know, when we're together, when you see me, when you think about me, when we're not together, you feel it. There's chemistry, there's a connection. I don't have to do nothing. You don't have to do anything for me, extra. I shouldn't have to pop a pill. You shouldn't have to be thinking about some next person. You
Mm-hmm.
should be thinking about me and wanting me. And that's the way that chemistry needs to be.
And if you ever get to a point in your relationship where that doesn't happen anymore, where you don't look at your partner anymore with that same attraction, what is wrong with having a conversation and coming together and having a discussion about what can happen, what needs to change in order for that feeling to come back? There's nothing wrong with just coming together, putting your heads and your hearts together to have that conversation.
Yeah, like I think that's why they make lingerie. That's why they make a whole bunch of other stuff to be able to put some spices in it. It's just I don't know, man. I see it like I see the wife that I married, and I seen the wife out there, 2 kids. I just feel like it is my responsibility to understand and expect that women are going to change in a relationship. I think that's an unrealistic expectation if you tell a man, oh, she gonna stay the same. That same person you fell in love with at 19 is gonna be the same woman at 38, 39. I think you're not telling them the truth. So when I speak with young men, I'm telling them, yes, you know who you fell in love with today. You need to find something deeper than just attraction. And you're right, 100%. You should be able to have the conversation, but I shouldn't leave if she doesn't change those things. So that's the point that I was making.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I just want to say,
I was, yeah,
to
go
go
ahead,
there.
Jay.
No, you've been waiting, so go.
Yeah, I was gonna say, listen, the fact of the matter is both of you are gonna get old, right? So yes, there has to be other things that keep you together. It can't be just, yeah, you know what, I liked you when you were 19, now you're 48, you're a train wreck. You can't have that, right? You over time, when you get to learn the person, you get to learn a lot of things about each other. You're vulnerable with each other, and you fall in love with different elements of what that person is. And yes, even that's going to change over time. Like you said, you're going to have kids, you're going to go through trials and tribulations. You're going to have wins and losses, and you're going to have arguments as well, and disagreements. So you are going to change, but like when you look at I want to say older generation, because there's probably a higher success rate in terms of marriages that actually work, that last a long time compared to where we are these days. A lot of them, they stay married because even though they may be 67, 75, whatever it is, they still have that same twinkle in their eye for each other as when they did when they first met. That's the test of time. That's the even after all the decades of being together, waking up together, having conversations, going through all the run-of-the-mill things, sometimes it may have been monotonous, but you've had a life partner there with you that, yeah, you love a lot of things about, but there's still that romance, that attraction, that chemistry, physically that's there too. Because a lot of them are randy too. As soon as the grandkids are at the house, they're trying to hide somewhere and get their little 50 pumps. So, like, let's be real, it's both of you are going to change. And it's down to how you handle each other through those growing and learning processes that keeps the attraction there. Not just the physical, it's what you go through as well. Like when you're tested and times get difficult, it can really bring out the best in you, or it can bring out the worst. And when it brings out the best, you may win more admiration and respect for each other, and the fact that you're able to see it through and make it to where you need to go. So
Can I just say that, like, I agree. I think there is First of all, can I just say hi, Sean? Because I love Sean, and I'm so happy he's here. Second, I think it's true. You do have to. Why is JR giving me that look? No, because I see Sean on all the panels. I'm like, oh my god, Sean's on the panel. Anyways, I think it's important that you do have to have that initial attraction. Like, you do have to be kind of, you know, the physical attraction is important to a certain extent, but I agree that it's, you know, yes, there has to be more. There has to be that thing that you cling on to, that thing that stays, I guess, within their soul, that stays with you, and you're like, okay, this is the person that I'm always going to find that spark with. This aspect of the person's character is always going to be that spark, whether it is the fact that you love the way they think, or do you love their humor, or the type of music they do, the things that they enjoy, the fact that they have, you know, a kind character, all of this stuff. But I think sometimes what can happen is that, at least in my experience, I've seen a lot of women kind of go into this expecting that their husbands are going to change over time, that the way that they looked at 25 is not going to be how they look at 60. And I think women have a romanticized idea of growing old with their partner, whereas I don't think some men have that in their minds. And I think when they get married and the woman has a baby, the body changes and all this thing, it becomes this thing. And you see it on social media, and of course social media isn't the best representation of the entire world, but this idea of that when a woman's body changes, a man is like, oh, okay, and that's fair, because yeah, it's a different body that you now have to relearn, and things change. But I think there's not enough grace that's given to that aspect. You know, women's bodies are under such scrutiny all the time, and their looks and how they look, or how pretty they are, or how pretty they're not, is under scrutiny all the time. So I think sometimes that might be the nucleus of why it feels a bit more sensitive for women in a way than it might do for men. Because for a long time, men's looks weren't necessarily being scrutinized in maybe the same way they might be now. And even now, it's still not to the same extent as a woman. And I think that's why the idea of attraction and growing to be attracted to someone might feel different for men versus women. But I think in the grand scheme of things, you do want to feel like when your partner looks at you, they're like, wow. And when you look at them, that you're like, wow. And then you hope that as time goes on and you're growing older and you get into your 50s and 60s, 70s, you still look at your husband or your wife and you go, yeah, wow. But now it's like, wow, you're looking great for 70. Wow, you're looking great for 60, and so forth. However that looks. But it's you have to go into it with the mindset that this person is going to change. And I think that helps you have that radical acceptance of the person, rather than kind of almost being quite rigid of, oh, I have to be, I don't know how to explain it. Like, of course you have to be attracted, but you also have to expect that change. And I think that prepares you to love that person every day as you start to notice the changes in them, you know?
Before you go, E-Man, Jay, you were gonna go earlier on, and you did the connection off. Go for it.
Yeah, what I wanted to say is that the original conversation was based around dating. So with the video result, it was the beginning stage.
Oh, your mic is doing. Hold on. Wait, hold on. Try again.
How's it now?
No, nice. You sound like you're in the Matrix family.
I'm gonna come out again, so someone else.
No worries, bro.
Not me this time. That's what I'm saying.
Well, before Jay comes back in and out, I just want to thank Precious for that, very inviting, welcoming, entrance into the UK panel. I really, this makes me, feel almost butterflies. So thank you.
No, it's because I see Sean on the panels for like Married at First Sight. I'm like, oh, I love Sean. He's great. And so now it's great to have Sean on the panel. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
It's great to be well received, you know, and I think, you know, it just touches on, you know, a little bit of the energy that we're talking about here. It's like that's how I want to feel when I walk in the room, right? You know, and I
Yes.
don't think there's anything wrong with that from a man. You know, I know we kind of get a little, you know, we get a little prodded about like, oh, well, we want to be looked at for our looks, not necessarily, you know, but we just want to be appreciated, right? And we want to know that whatever it is about us, that you like that about us, and you don't feel like you're settling, or you don't feel like, oh, well, because I'm X, then I need to behave in a certain way because you are completely beautiful and I'm, you know, whatever I may be, you know. So that's it. It's that energy, and I'm 100%. I totally understand, and you know, obviously, I was married, and I think that during the time, people change, whether it's mentally, whether it's physically. But I think again, that baseline attraction has to be there in the beginning, because that sets the tone for you to be able to appreciate that person throughout the duration, right? Because it's not just the you know, the mental, but the physical, the things that get your body sparked, the things that keep that engine going, starts with the physical part of your brain. And acknowledging that you do and want that person are super important. I think, you know, we just can't ignore it. We just can't push it to the side or feel guilty because we want that to be there. You know, now it's not everything, because looks fade, your body does change, all of us. And, you know, we acknowledge that women bear a bigger weight to that, because, you know, in relationships and in situations, you guys are the ones that are having children and dealing with what it takes to, you know, to do all of that. And that does come with the toll and does come with the change. And you have to appreciate your woman at every stage, right? And every curve. And I'm not somebody that's unrealistic either. Like, oh, you got to be this, and this. But I do expect that I'm not going to date anybody. I'm not going to be in a relationship with somebody that I'm not attracted to physically. And I'm not going to, I don't want to feel like I'm settling, and I don't want that person to feel like they're settling either.
Well,
Yeah.
well, let me ask y'all guys this question. Do you believe the more time that you spend with someone that attractions grows?
Yeah, I do. I really do.
So when we was talking about dating, I was saying don't rule out that you're not attracted to them at the beginning, right? I'm not saying that you should be marrying someone that you're not attracted to. That I hope that's not what y'all guys was getting. But
No.
I have seen like people that get together where they lives match very like everything outside of attraction matched. And what they did is they spent time over the next year with each other. And what they did is naturally start getting attracted to that person's personality, getting attracted to it. Matter of fact, they believe it or not, they both start going to the gym together. They start doing certain things that they created a level of attraction. So I know that this is against everything that is said over here, but I think you can create an attraction even though it's not there initially.
Oh no, we agree on that. We agree on that. I was just I think my disagreement was in you saying that wanting to be attracted to somebody was shallow. That was my main point, really.
Yeah, and I think what really happened was I was looking at this situation from a marriage point of view because I always think marriage first. But when I start understanding that you was really talking about dating and actually coming from that perspective, yes, you shouldn't be, forcing a marriage. I don't tell nobody to force to be with somebody that you don't want to be with. That's not what I'm saying. But within the marriage, after the honeymoon phase wears off, after the attractions go away, saying what's next? And I think a lot of people don't have solutions for that because they think it's going to be that same 25-year-old that they married 10 years from now. And every 4 years, people typically change.
I hear you. I do.
Go for it, Jay. Try again. Let's see if you got your mic.
Do you know what? By the way, am I better now? Yeah.
It sounds like it. Go for
Yeah,
it. It's tenuous. It's on the edge,
Yeah,
but go for
it's on the edge. It's on the edge.
It's on the,
I
it's
can
on
see
the brink of
that. Should I
Go for
continue?
it. Yeah, continue to see. I'll mute everybody, but go for it.
Everyone's kind of said what I was going to say, because it was based off the initial dating stages, and you probably missed it in the beginning, Edaman, but we all said that in the beginning in agreement with what you're saying now. Not just the marriage part, 'cause that's separate. We all understand that. But also in the beginning, it is possible for people to gain attraction over time. I think we all know personally people who have had that experience. What we were saying is for ourselves, for myself, I can't do that. And I've tried and tested that before. For myself, I can't do that. And I don't want to put a woman through that, because of the issues that do come with that in terms of how she feels about her man seeing her, feeling her. I don't want her to feel like I find her unattractive. That's why I've had to understand myself and know that, okay, I can't do that. How I thrive is seeing you and knowing, oh, you are just beautiful. You are just something else. You know, I want to rip your clothes off. I want to, I want to just you're just beautiful to me. And because like, where's he going? Because like Sean was saying, that initial foundation is there. So even as we get married, pregnancies and all those changes, because we all change in general, that foundation is still going to be there. Now, I do understand there are married couples that we can read it. It does happen where I don't find you attractive anymore, etc. I think you need to go to the gym, etc. No matter how you want to, disguise it. It does happen. But all I can say is that for myself, that initial foundation, even if anything, based on who I'm with now, is always going to be there. I'm still going to love her and find her attractive through everything. But we also need to not get away from our natural human instincts and understanding. Most of us just love, I'm not going to say gym bodies, but bodies that we naturally find as more attractive. So for example, if my missus was to break up with me today and she was to, let's just say there was a Jason who goes to the gym, which is what I do now, and a Jason who doesn't, who eats, I don't know, McDonald's every day, etc. She's not going to say, I want the McDonald's Jason over the gym Jason. She's going to say, I want the gym Jason. Because naturally, she's going to go for what she's more attracted to. And I feel like as human beings, that are just natural things. How important that is over time, of course, lessens. Because you get to know the person for who they are and you see other things and you spend time together. I think it's very immature to break up a marriage over because someone has gained weight. I think that's ridiculous. But that's a different conversation. But ultimately, if he was to break up, that person has a choice of what is physically attractive to them, and they're going, if they have the same everything on the table, they're going to go for the person who looks more physically attractive naturally, unless they have an issue with, like we were saying earlier, I think maybe before you joined, if I go for a person who's more attractive, maybe it's going to come with more problems. And I feel like that's natural for all of us. I mean, when we look after our bodies, look after our shape, naturally people are going to look at you differently. That's just how human beings are. But you shouldn't use that to jeopardize your marriage.
So what I heard you say was that you're looking at it at two different ways. You looked at marriage and you looked at dating, right? All right. So say, for example, if you had a daughter, for the guys on the panel, right? And you found a young man that had all of the attributes that you felt that a man should have to be married to your daughter, but he wasn't as attractive as maybe someone else. Would you encourage your daughter to be in that relationship if it's best for her? You say no?
No, I wouldn't. Let me put it this way. I wouldn't do something she didn't I wouldn't encourage her to do something that she genuinely didn't want to do. Because as I said, being with someone who you're actually not, okay, to give context, if I don't find you attractive today, I'm not going to find you attractive tomorrow. So if I know my daughter is like that, I'm not going to encourage her to do that. So I don't want her in that type of relationship. So based on how I feel about that, I will say to her, this guy's nice, this guy's A, B, C, D, E. But I will not tell her, I will not put her in a position where she has to do something she really doesn't want to do. And it's not, and I'm not even coming from a superficial point of view, etc. I'm just saying she generally does not find them attractive. I don't want her to be in a marriage like that, because I don't want her being in a marriage where the guy doesn't find her attractive. To me, that would be horrible. I wouldn't want to put my daughter through that. So why would I want her to do the reverse?
But was that the scenario that you put forward, though, either man? I
No,
didn't hear you say
no,
that.
Go on.
Go ahead.
no.
Go ahead.
What I was saying, not that he was not attracted to your daughter. He had all of the qualities that you see in a man of his age, and the guy that was not that attractive. So that means that your daughter might not have been that attracted to him, not the vice versa.
Yeah, and that's what I said in the beginning. What I said in the end was, if in the reverse, I can't imagine my daughter being with a guy who's not attracted to her. But in the beginning, I said I wouldn't tell my daughter to go and do the same thing if she's
Well,
genuinely not attracted.
I think as a father, because I have daughters, it's my responsibility to think logical and to be able to think, 10 steps ahead of where my daughter is today. Right. So yeah, it's just I think different, and I do believe that I'm gonna be heavily involved with the picking of my daughter's husband. We already had this conversation, right? So like this idea that if I find someone that's a better suit and attraction is not the highest, I'm going to go with the better suit, because it's something mentally that you got to be able to check. And I think it all depends. I like, of course, if you find an attractive guy who got all those qualities, we're having a whole different conversation. But out of the guys that she have to choose from, if we found someone that was not as attractive, I think that we need to at least entertain that conversation. But I don't know if Jay's mindset is that he wants to be involved with his daughters picking a spouse. That might be the difference for where we're at.
Well, I'm already involved because these are the things I teach. My daughter's 15 now, right? My oldest daughter. And these are the things I teach her now because of the way that I am. So in answering your question in context, I wouldn't say to her, choose the better looking man over the man who's actually going to look after you. I wouldn't do that. Just in the context of, she might have a guy who's great looking, might have a guy that's not so great looking. I wouldn't put her in a position where she feels that her father is trying to force her to be with a guy that she doesn't really see as great looking in general, simply because, for me personally, I'm not going to find you better looking just because you're in my life. That's not going to happen.
I think force and encourage is two different words. I'm not forcing my daughter to do anything because she's her own person to make her own thing. But I am going to encourage what I believe is best for her. She's looking to me as for wisdom, and she's looking for me for guidance. And if she trusts me enough to come to me, I should be able to be open to tell her my opinion is that the overall person is better for her than the person just from an attraction point of view.
I think everyone on the panel would agree with you that from an encouragement point of view, we would give the most wise decision. But the reason why this comes into context is because of what we've seen. Like in the beginning, I gave the scenario, it's in the reverse, but I gave the scenario of where the man can't even walk with his wife because he doesn't find her attractive. This is why for me, it's like, okay, I wouldn't want to put my daughter in a position where she can't even be who she wants to be or who she can be to a man because there was no initial attraction and it's not going to come. I don't want to put her in that position, I would encourage her to make a wise decision, but I'm not going to be upset if she didn't. If she 100% feels she cannot see this man as attractive and she needs to feel this man, I've had women that would say to me this literal same thing where they did not find the man attractive. Every time he touched her, it felt horrible, but they couldn't turn the man down because that's her husband, and ended up divorcing. So that's why the context that I come from, let's take forcing out the equation. But from the encouragement, that's all I can do. That's all I can do. Everyone here would encourage that through wisdom. But understanding things in context of today's generation, I know that it's not just as looking at the character context, it's not just as simple because people think differently in this day and age. Even if it's not superficial, people's feelings are different in this day and age, and they need to feel that something in order to be 100% of who they're going to be in the marriage.
So So it sounds like what you're saying. So, because I believe men and women look at attraction different. Can we at least agree that women look at attraction different from how men look at attraction? Like you can see an ugly rich dude with a beautiful woman. Like that. That's
Yeah.
something that we all can agree that we can see. So you're saying that you would tell your daughter to kind of follow her feelings and her attraction when making that lifelong decision?
No, I would give her the wisdom that I give her now, based on provision, based on understanding, based on taking care of her heart. That's what I would do. If
I'm
she
saying
makes
so.
the choice to be with someone who isn't the best looking, like we talked about this earlier in terms of a man having a big belly but he can provide, etc. If she makes that decision, I'm okay with that because I know why she's made that decision. And to be honest with you, she's okay making that decision. But what I don't want, but the position I don't want her to be in is where she definitely 100% does not find the man attractive. If anything, she might be repulsed. If anything, she just can't feel that man actually touching her, but she feels okay, but my dad may want me to marry this man because of what he, what he able to provide. And I'm talking about from this generation's perspective, because this conversation that we're having is a very traditional mindset, or a very, we can say, Christian mindset, where people encourage because of character just get together. What we're seeing now in our generation, that's very dangerous because we think differently, we feel differently, we need more of that attraction, and we need to work on that attraction because things do change, but that foundation needs to continue. This is why I have the perspective that I have, because if she's going to be in a position where she is repulsed by the man, where she feels forced to even sleep with him, I wouldn't feel good as a father if I encouraged her to be in that type of situation. Obviously it's different if she's in it and the attraction grows. That's a win-win situation. That's what I want for her, but I have to be understanding of what actually is happening in today's society, and seeing so many people get with men or women who that initial attraction isn't there, and it continues to cause a problem in today's society. And that's just based off this generation, not the type of generation that we come from. And yeah, that's just how I kind of see
So,
it.
so, so I guess the question would be more for the ladies. Do you believe that it's a level of immaturity in this generation that people can't look past looks?
No, I don't.
So you think that this is what's going on in the world in this generation is, I guess we would call it normal and how things should be running?
Well, let me say this. I should rephrase that because I can't speak for this generation. I can't really speak for anybody. But what I can say is that, and it's the only point that I've been making from the beginning, really, which is that I think it's a mistake to have a judgment value when looks or physical attraction is something that is important to you. I think that it's a mistake to say it's wrong or bad to consider physical attraction to be important, and to then say it's immature or childish, I think is a mistake. I think it's also a mistake to pass up a great guy because he's not exactly your type. And let me just say this: I've never actually dated my type before. I've dated men who had something about them, and then I fell in love with them, and they looked better and better and better to me. So as far as dating my type, I've never been somebody that was really strict about that. But it is important to have something about them. It's so important. And I don't think that that should be put into the realms of that's childish or that's immature, because it's important.
Well, the reason I say that, so I believe that the reason I say words like childish, for example, if a person have 80% of what you looking for, and you say I'm not getting them because of the 20%, I just think that sometimes you need a wake up call. I think that's the reason. Like, because I hear this word settle a lot, If somebody have majority of what you want and they don't have the rest, I don't think that you're settling. I think that they're human, because it's no Superman on earth. There's no perfect person on earth. So this idea that I'm gonna find someone that have 100% of everything that I'm looking for, I believe it's a Disney movie.
Can I just say that I feel like I understand what you're saying. I think I used to think along those lines before, and I think to a certain extent I still do. But I don't want it to be a situation where we're going and swinging the pendulum to extremes. I think the reality is that there are going to be, you're going to, over the course of your life, meet a lot of people. And you're going to find some of those people attractive. You're going to find some of those people more attractive. But I think the idea is that there has to be something there that makes you physically want to be close to this person and connected to the person. Because in relationships, sex is incredibly important. And I don't think that should be understated. That's an important part of relationship. An important part of sex is physical attraction. Like how Charlene said, it's similar to what Charlene said, the person doesn't necessarily have to fit your type to 100% T for you to feel attracted to that person. If your type is, I don't know, what's his name? What's that person? What's that name? That guy, he's bald and he's married to Nicole Parker. What's his name?
Oh, Boris Kodjoe.
There we go. Him. He is, conventionally an incredibly attractive person, right? The person that you're with doesn't have to look like him for you to find him attractive. And I think the idea is that you just have that initial attraction, because you might also find initial attraction to somebody who isn't your type. Usually I've been in that situation where I'm like, you're not my usual type, but actually I'm attracted to you, and it can happen. It's just about having that attraction that is there. It's not in the absence of it, of course. And I think kind of what I was saying earlier, it's not the be all and end all, because there are other things that are important, but that doesn't mean that it shouldn't be taken into consideration. I guess if we're going with the idea that this person has the 80%, I think what's more important is that you are self-aware enough to know whether or not the attraction is enough for you to continue on pursuing this relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I think is important. And I think if you're self-aware enough to know, I don't know if I can find myself growing in attraction with this person, I don't think that's inherently childish. I think that's very honest and self-aware. At least you can be honest and self-aware about it. But of course, there also has to be a temperament of understanding that this perfect person in your mind is never going to exist. So as long as you understand that, I think there will be some temperament in going, okay, if you meet somebody, they don't fit into this perfect box of attraction. If you understand inherently that no one's ever going to fit into this perfect box of attraction, I think by default, you are going to be able to find someone that you find attractive. I think we all come across people we find attractive, like most of the time. So I don't think it's hard for someone to find someone else attractive who's also got the characteristics that they want as well. I don't know. I think in my experience, I don't find a lot of people struggle with that part. I find what people struggle with is the ups and downs of an actual relationship, rather than, oh, this person's perfect, but I don't find them attractive. That, at least in my experience, I find that a very rare thing. I think most people, especially now with online dating, that element is kind of locked off anyway, because you won't even match the person you don't find attractive. So the chances of you even meeting that person decreases now if you're at least online on apps matching for people. So I think maybe that's why the generational changes happen, because now maybe in previous generations where you didn't have dating apps, you would just meet people in the street and whoever was there was there. But now, you know, you've got that kind of initial screening of, do I find you physically attractive? Yes, match. So now you've got that foundation already set anyway, you know? So that's why I don't know. I think maybe now I'm thinking about it. How realistic is it for you to meet somebody who has everything, but you're so unattracted to this person that you're like, I don't know if this is going to happen. I don't know if that's something that a lot of people experience nowadays, and maybe I'm just being naive. I don't know.
I think ET, what you're talking about, I think what you're doing right now is just the culture, what it is in terms of maybe the access, in terms of people seeing. It's like digitization of people nowadays, hypersexualization. You're only focusing so much on the physical attraction of people, right? I think, however, though, when you say it's not as important in terms of the initial stages of just seeing somebody, first, we do say first impressions do count, or presentation counts when you're meeting somebody. So if there isn't like a foundation where there is something about this person, and I do agree, if you're not gonna have that 100% person, no person is perfect, but there has to be something that makes you think, there's something about this person I want to get to know. There's something about this person that makes me think, maybe I could potentially see something. But if there's nothing there to begin with, because sometimes people, men and women, do mental gymnastics to try and justify why I should try to stay with someone that I'm not initially attracted to, even if they do have quote unquote qualities, but they are not the qualities that I myself am looking for, if that makes sense, men or women alike. So when you say not as important, well, if physical attraction was never really a thing, if human beings didn't have eyes, right, then maybe we could say, okay, but because we have eyes and we are visual creatures and we like what we see, obviously we shouldn't only focus on the physical attraction. There are other components. There has to be a balance to it. There has to be a holistic assessment in terms of picking people, right? There has to be a balance that you can appreciate and acknowledge a person's physical features and also look at the characters that make this person more attractive in your eyes as well. That's what we're more or less saying. But there has to be something you got to start off with. And that parameter, or that principle of what you base your attraction on, that one is different for everybody. It's a case by case situation.
Hey everybody. I'm just hearing everything is like theory, romanticized. Everything is, in my mind, speculation. So, just background, I am on my second marriage. I was married the first time for 13 years. This time we're almost to 7 years. So some days, you know, we all have ups and down days. We all do. We don't wake up every morning feeling like today's going to be the best day of our life. So just like that, the relationship, the marriage, or even in dating is going to be ups and downs. Today, the person may look real good, and tomorrow something about them may be rubbing you wrong. So my whole thing with this is, yes, they could be attractive at first, but sometimes the highest heat fizzles out real fast. And sometimes there is very little kindling, but the fire can burn bright. So my thing is with each person, and for me, and I heard what Jeff had said earlier, for me, it was, I guess we need a good, healthy dose of self-esteem too, because, and I don't know if it may be my disassociative way, that if someone says something about me they don't like, I take it in stride. Okay, you don't like that about me, but guess what? That I see that as a higher quality. Or if when I dated, you don't find me attractive, that's fine. I'm not your cup of tea, But guess what? Somebody will want to take a big gulp. I'm just not yours. So my whole thing is, if I'm strong in me and I know who I am, then I can move forward in my marriage, in my relationships, and so forth. So for me, attraction, yes, it can be there initially. Or in my case, when I dated, I'm trying to figure out, why has this person been brought into my realm? Maybe they're here to teach me something about myself or about the world I'm in. So dating for me is information. Dating for me at the time was, let me learn something that I can package and take to the next relationship or the next hit and run. Doesn't matter what it is, but I'm going to learn something. So for me, I'm hearing like Either Man Williams said, it's a lot of romanticized things, and I like to bring things to the ground level. And on the ground, each day is going to be different. My attraction level could be different, but I have to have the foundation of, my husband, I love this man. I may be mad at him today. He may be my sun, moon, and stars tomorrow. But my foundation is, I love this man. He may put on a hat I find unattractive, but guess what? That hat can be taken off. But for me, it's like, we need to keep stuff on the ground level. And I'm hearing a lot of hypothesis, but I love to hear people's experiences. And I love to hear how people have overcome or what people have learned from an experience.
Is it just me, or I'm finding it really difficult to see where we disagree? Like, seriously, I'm finding it difficult to see. It feels like you guys feel like there's a disagreement somewhere, but all I'm hearing is different aspects of the same opinion. Is it me?
No, I think
it's good.
we're talking about what we're referring to. Understanding the context of who's speaking is about marriage. The original question had nothing to do with marriage, which is where we all agree the context that comes with that. And I've also been married. I'm divorced now, but I've also been married. So and we also had a child in that marriage. So I fully understand the context of what changes. And, even my pastor will say there's going to be times where you may look at each other and think, oh my gosh, what's going on? That's because of what may happen in the marriage. And we agree with what happens. We all know, or understand or heard of what happens. But the initial conversation was about the initial stage. Before all the things that we find out in marriage or in relationship, we don't know most of those things because we haven't got there yet. What the initial conversation was about, before you know all of those things, do you want to move forward or not if you do not find this person actually attractive? That was the actual question. Whereas what we're talking about now, we actually all agree with. We actually don't disagree. We actually do agree with, okay, now you've moved to the next level. It needs a different way of thinking. You need to be a lot more mature about certain things, about the conversations that you have, about perspectives, about attractiveness. That's just how it is. You have to maintain. Unfortunately, you do have people out there who will look at, okay, you've changed. I want to go for someone younger. That's unfortunate. It does happen, but that's not what we're talking about. What we're actually addressing is, in those initial stages, what do you do if you do not find that person attractive, which stemmed from a conversation we was having behind the scenes.
So I think it's called the show. What's the show called? I think it's called Love is Blind. Is when they have the conversation before they do that. I think that's excellent. And the reason I think it's excellent is because you get to know someone a lot deeper than what you see. Because I think what you see, the attraction can blind you. It's so many. I see people that's in relationship. It's so many red flags out there, and they can't see the red flags because they're so attracted to the person that's in front of them. So when you just start going deeper, and I'm not discounting if attraction is a big thing for you, that you shouldn't make sure you're attracted to the person. That's not what I'm doing. But when you go deeper and you really get to know that person, I think attraction have nothing to do with if that's the person for you or not. in the dating stage.
Yeah, I think, but I think what is confusing here, because I think there's three different conversations happening, I think, because I think one, I think some people are saying if there isn't attraction at all, we're not even getting to the stage of getting to know each other, is what I think some people are saying. Then there's the idea of how much attraction do you need to move forward? This person might not be like the 10 out of 10, but how much attraction do you need as a prerequisite to continue to move forward, to get to know this person? That's another thing. And then, because I guess for me, the idea is if you're already in a situation where you're trying to get to know this person, then that means there's already been a decision by you on the fact of I find this person attractive, I want to get to know them more, which is what I think Jeff was saying of there's something about this person that makes me want to get to know them more. So there is an element there of attraction, whether it's, it might be physical, it might be physical / emotional. But I think for some people, there is a prerequisite of, do I want to continue getting to know you more? Yes, because I do feel an element of attraction. So let's get to that point. Now this attraction will then become bigger and stronger as we continue to go on.
So I think it's a difference of saying that I am not attracted to you and I'm unattracted to you. Like, so unattractive and not, and I know that sounds the same. I don't think it's the same. So me not being attracted. So I think it's a neutral place where I'm not attracted to you now, or I'm not attracted to you. That kind of makes sense? Or does that sound crazy?
I get what you're saying, but I guess I'm thinking about how it actually works in practicality. But then, no,
I'm saying,
I get what you mean. Yeah. So like, it's the thing of, it could go either way. If I get to know you more, I could probably lean more towards I'm attracted to you. If I get to know you more and I don't like what I'm seeing, I can lean more to I'm not attracted to you. Is that what you're saying?
yes, and that's the point I'm saying. It's a neutral place. It's not just the positive side and the negative. I can go in a situation neutral, like, I'm open. And I can either go sway, yes, I like this personality. I like everything about this person, because I've seen people that the person's in shape, they're good looking, and they just say they're not attracted to them. It's not that they're not an attractive person. That's not the point that I'm trying. I'm not saying that you should get with somebody ugly. That's not the point that I'm making. The point that I'm making is you can go into a situation that you're just not attracted to that person that need to grow. And I think it's just a difference, in my opinion.
Again,
Go for it, Sean. You were going to say? Sorry, Sean was going to go first. Sorry, apologies.
Oh, no worries. I think that one of the things that kind of started this conversation, and Jay, you mentioned it, right, is the idea that there is an element of settling on attraction, or not, one person not making it as important as the other. And I think that's why you have some of us on the side of saying, like, no, there needs to be some baseline level of attraction if you're going to be in a relationship or you're going to date somebody. And I think Kojo showed a little bit of a video by another content creator who has, kind of played on this medium ugly term and said that women shouldn't be, automatically going for men that are attractive, and they should shoot for men that are less attractive, right? And then shoot for men that, perhaps have money or have other things that they can offer of value, versus women focusing on being attracted to a man, right? So it kind of just sparks this whole debate of, is attraction important for women? What men find value in attractiveness in women, and things like that. So, for anybody kind of like coming in towards the middle or the tail end of it, I think that's the conversation that we're kind of all having, is like, hey, listen, no, some of us are pushing back against that idea of, yeah, you can just enter in a situation where you're not really attracted to the person. No, you should have a level of attractiveness to the person, right? Now, where that falls depends on the person. Everybody is different. Different people find different things attractive. And I'm not going to tell you what you should feel attractive or not. I'm just saying my opinion is you should be attracted to me, right?
So, Bashar, let me ask you
Hold
this
on.
question.
Before we go, sorry. Just want to open up this. Jeff, go for it because I want a few people to talk. Sorry. Who you want to say something, Jeff? You didn't have something to say? Fantastic. Charlene, you were going to say something then.
I was, but I want to hear this. I'm waiting with bated breath. I want to hear what either man wants to say. Back to Sean.
So my question, not just to Sean, maybe to the whole panel, is: do money make you more attractive? Is the more money a person have, do that contribute to their swagger, how they dress, their haircut? Do you believe that money make a person more attractive?
I will just say no, because I hear this a lot. And I think it is an individual thing, because I think for some women, money 100% makes somebody more attractive. But I'm sorry, let's be real. Jeff Bezos is not attractive. Call a spade, at least to me. He has what, 100 billion, whatever. Okay, cool. He still looks like Lex Luthor on steroids to me. What I'm saying is that some people are just not going to be attractive to you, regardless of how much money they've got. Jeff Bezos is about to come find me any day. I'm not going to be here tomorrow. But no, my point is, there are some. So, for example, celebrities are a perfect example, right? Specifically actors. Because, like, you can have an actor who is attractive. For example, The Rock. The Rock was always going to be attractive. No matter how much money he has, he was always going to be attractive. Someone like a Chris Hemsworth, who plays Thor, always going to be attractive. Somebody like a Morris Chestnut, always going to be attractive. The money doesn't make them more attractive. They're conventionally good-looking men. So the money or the fame doesn't make them attractive. Now, you can say that the success in their career, the fact that they're really good at something, the fact that they've been able to make a really successful career and be good at this and they have money makes them more attractive. But I don't think being famous takes somebody who you don't find attractive at all, or at least it shouldn't anyway. I was just speaking for me. I can't speak for everyone. Doesn't make them more attractive. There are some people who are rich, who I see, and I'm like, money or not money, it's not for me. And so that's why for me anyway, on my behalf, I would say no.
Max, I want others to answer. Yeah. Well, I got a response to that, but I want to hear others before I respond to that.
There's a question for the ladies.
No, I think
Does
for
money
me,
make a man more? Go for it, Sean.
I think for me, if I find a man unattractive and he's got money, and then I consider it in terms of consider dating him, I would consider that to still be a form of settling. I think that's the short answer to that. Because there's something within, because remember, this is not, and I've spoken about this before, this is not just about intellect and making logical choices based upon what looks good on paper. This is about what does he feel like in my body, and the money is not going to influence the message that my body receives that this isn't a good idea. And that would still be a form of settling to me. And like Precious said, I can't speak on anyone else's behalf, because there are plenty of millionaires and billionaires who are not good looking, honey, and they are bagging the baddies. I'm just talking about myself in regards to my one of my core values of being in integrity with myself. For goodness sake, I have to be in integrity. And I know that if I was to get with a guy that I don't find attractive and start saying, maybe I see the zeros in his bank account, that is a form of settling. And that's just the end of that.
And that's what causes the women to go after the money so viciously during the divorce, because they do not like those men. They do not like those men.
No, the reason they go after the money because they have a good lawyer. But L.
Okay, I have an unpopular opinion. I'm not going to settle for struggle. So you do not need to be, a millionaire, but you still have to be able to at least carry your weight or some weight. So it doesn't need to be obscene money, but I'm sorry if, when I dated, I wouldn't date anyone that was unemployed. Sorry, not happening, So does the money matter? Yes, it does. But to what extent depends on the person.
So, well, let me respond to that because I think
wait. Before you respond, there's still one more lady. We have Max.
Hey, Max.
Hey guys. So I think the question was, will money make a man more attractive to me?
Tell the truth.
So I will tell the truth, and the devil will be put to shame. So I'm with, I'm with Precious and Charlene on that baseline thought of like, if we're talking about really rich guys, I don't think for me personally that's going to shift anything. But if you mean in general, like because you could take it from the perspective of, if your man is broke, he can't afford to groom himself, he can't afford to get shape ups, he can't afford to wear 3-piece suits, he can't afford to present himself in the best light, he can't afford a gym membership, he has to walk for exercise. That's different. That is different, because he will look different than the guy who can afford those things, that just allows himself to present himself in the best light. So if that's the angle you're talking about, I think that can change how attractive someone is to you. It's not going to change the deep levels of attraction in terms of to who they are. But yeah, physical attraction, yeah, if he can't afford to groom himself, that's going to impact things.
Well, so I'm glad you said that, because that was the angle that I was talking about. I think money makes a huge difference in whether a person's attractive or not. At something as simple as a haircut. Taking a man without a haircut and taking a man with a haircut, that money made a difference. And on top of that, if the men are being honest, we know what $100 weave look like, and we know what an $800 weave look like. And you can take the same woman and you can give her an $800 weave versus a $100 weave. She looked totally different, not even close to being the same. Like, we know. So this idea that money doesn't have influence on attraction, I think it's just a very bad argument. Even the difference between someone doing their own makeup and then what we see with the celebrities, a lot of celebrities is not as attractive as we think they are. Their makeup, having makeup artists that they spend $400 or $500 on getting they face actually put together, is something that makes us more attracted to people. So I think that people who have more money are a lot more attractive. If I was to give Little Black Book $1 million versus giving him $10, he's going to look better to y'all. He's going to be able to have nicer clothes. He's going to have nicer haircuts. Especially if he's spending money. I'm not talking about the guy who just said, I'm going to put the money in the bank account like Warren Buffett and I ain't going to do nothing. No, but if he go out and get that 3-piece suit, if he go out and get that tailor suit, if you see a man that's in a tailor suit versus in the K&G suit, he looked different. Like, more people are attracted to him. So I think if a person is spending that money correctly, it definitely sway, especially women, to be more attracted to him. But that's just my opinion.
But let me just say this, though, because it's important to go back to the question that you asked. And the question that you asked was, if you're not attracted to the man and he has a lot of money, would that change things? And the answer to that is no, because the context that I was thinking about was this guy that I'm just like, it's never going to happen between us. There is nothing about him that I find attractive. I'm thinking along the lines of, there's just absolutely no way that I would ever be attracted to this guy. And there is nothing about that in my mind. When I think of that type of guy, giving him a fresh fade and putting him in a 3-piece suit, that wouldn't change things for me. That's just me. Now, take that guy, and there's something about him. I'm not all the way attracted to him, but there's something about him. And now put him in a 3-piece suit with a fresh fade. And it's not even about the digits in his bank account, but his abilities to create money, his business acumen. Okay, now we're talking. But that's not the question that you asked. So I just want to be very clear about the questions that we're answering, because that's important.
Yes. So what I'm saying is, it's a guy on YouTube, I forgot his name, but what he do is, he's a barber. And what he do is he take the homeless person, he push them out into the community and see how people treat him on how he look. And then he changes their clothes. He do everything. He cut their hair, washes them, do them a full different makeover, right? And be able to spend money on him. So he do it. And how women react to him, those homeless people, is a totally different thing just because of the influence of the money. So I kind of get what you're saying. You're saying that it's some people out there that they're so far gone that there's nothing they can do for me to be attracted to them. I get that. But when we're talking about
it's not so much that they're so far gone. It's just that in the mind of me, there is nothing I'm thinking about Bill Gates. He's not homeless by any means. But I'm telling you now that there is not a thing about that man. God bless his heart. I mean, no disrespect. We love you, Bill Gates. Keep doing your billionaire thing. We love to see it. But there's nothing about that man that overlaps in the realm of the attractiveness in my mind. And so his money, if he was trying to hit on me and say, Shah, I'm feeling you, there is nothing in me that would be like, well, he's got some money. And that would be a lack of integrity and settling for me.
And I'm agreeing. No, listen, I'm agreeing that it's some people that's just so far out, because she made that example earlier, that these people, it doesn't matter what they do, I'm not attracted to these type of men, right? But I believe that it's a group of men that you're not attracted to that might be your type, but the little things as haircut, personalities, or little things, and money influence personality too. When people call wealthy people cocky, or they call them arrogance, it's not because they was broke. It influenced this ability of having, we know that people with money typically have a different type of mindset than people without money. So I'm telling you, it is a whole layer of things that changes when you just add money into the equation.
Can I just ask for some clarification? Because I think the question is changing, because the original questions, at least to me, correct me if I'm wrong, sounded as though you were saying this person already has money, is already utilizing their money, and looks how they looks. So now you have to now decide whether this person is attractive, not as in this person looks like this, they've now been given money, they changed themselves, they look like this. But I think
I got what you're saying. So what I'm saying is, if I take someone that most women might say is not attractive, and I get y'all personal opinion, I can't argue that, right? But if I take a man that y'all say most of the people say is not attractive, most women says not attractive, and we give him money, I believe majority of women would change their perspective of him. I think money have a big influence on how women make decisions in today's economy.
Jay, go for it. You want to add? Go for it.
Well, on this point, I'll agree with Eda, man. I think For most guys, I mean, there's a rapper in the UK who's one of his famous lines was "Money makes you handsome," and I think most guys will tell you based on their own personal experience or what they've seen growing up that money. Again, we're not talking about levels of money because you don't have to be a millionaire, but money changes the game for you. It ups your levels, but it also gives you a certain level of confidence that ladies
Yep.
notice. One of the things that was mentioned is the way that you dress. You know, I was having a group conversation with someone the other week, and they said to me, I dress like basically I dress like I've got money and therefore A, B, C, D, E. And I thought, okay, what do you mean by that? And she explained that as ladies, there are many things that they're paying attention to. We can say it from the point of provision. I agree. If you're able to dress a certain way, if you're able to look a certain way, that may mean that obviously you can afford it. You know, you look good. That's like when ladies, you know, when they have the ability to pay for, as you're saying, either man, $800 weave. I mean, in the UK, that'll probably be about £150 to be fair. So the economy is quite different. It can give you a different look, which is why ladies are willing to pay a certain expense. However, we also have the millionaire who dresses like rubbish, who dresses like trash. So then the question would be, you know, are those men attractive? And the truth is, there are plenty of ladies out there, despite all of those things, that will still, you know, throw themselves at the type of man simply because of money. When I was at a party a couple of years ago, all of us were just talking just generally to one particular woman, and she said her love language was money, and she only wanted to date Arab men because they just threw money at you. And she was insulting black men, she was insulting different types of men. She says you can't talk to her unless you're willing to put £2,000 in a bank account every single week. So we have to discuss these things in context. It's always based on individual preference, and the ladies here say, "Not me. That's not how I roll." But this conversation stems from what most men see and what most men experience, and that the game changes. You know, when you have some level of money, someone who didn't find you attractive before, all of a sudden now wants to say, "Hey, big head," and it's one of those things that happen. So every man knows not to fall for the money don't matter. Every man knows I need to work on what I need to work on. Where I am, you know, let's see what lady is feeling me, what lady is going to accept me where I am. But ultimately, I can't take my foot off the gas. I have to, you know, continue in my career, continue in whatever I'm doing to, you know, earn as much as I can, because it will make me more desirable, and also I'll be able to look after my family. So that's just how most guys feel. You know, some guys really let it get to their heads, unfortunately. But in general, it's irresponsible for a man to settle on. It doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah.
I think you know, the luxury that certain men have, which is there's a very few small minority. There's a luxury of men who, no matter whether they're broke or rich, they're fine. No homo. They're just good looking brothers. That's the honest truth. Whether he was broke or whether he was rich, he would still collect. In fact, if he was broke, somebody rich would come and collect him. You understand? It's the same thing with women too. Like there's some women who are so beautiful that whether they're poor, they become rich because someone saw them. Do you know what I mean? Like their beauty becomes their currency. Do you get what I'm saying? Now the rest of us who are in the average brackets, you need to work. You're in the average bracket. You need to add things to your artillery that are going to make you stand out. You don't have that luxury, right? So that's where, as men, we put effort into these things. And the reality of the situation is, I was watching a video and it said, the guy was like, that he was saying about he doesn't listen to what women say. He listens to what women respond to. Because the reality of the situation is, no matter how much women will say, what are you responding to? Right now, I believe the women on the panel have said exactly what they meant, and I believe they're absolutely true. I think in the case of when you know someone already, yes, when he becomes rich, you don't give a heck because you already knew him. Familiarity breeds contempt. But when you don't know who he was before and he approaches you, it's slightly different. So if you didn't know that person's position to where they are now, you only see them in the current stock and how they are now. And I'm not saying that and I don't mean that even in a gold digging way. It's more of a case of, is it the money that makes him confident, or is it the money that makes him confident, or is he just gaining confidence? I think the reality is money influences your confidence. It influences your perception even on life. You have certain freedoms, that come with having more finances. You're willing to take more risks. You're willing to do more things. Your whole persona changes as a man in general. So yes, the money is a part of the influence, but the byproduct of having money is that it changes so many things about your life, including internally and externally. And actually, that's what actually draws women also in as well. So yes, having the finances is a major thing because it promotes stability. But then the other aspects is, hey, a brother, like we see these rich people saying, I'm gonna fly you out. When you can say that, it changes the game. Imagine you just say to her, listen, hey, this weekend, I'm gonna fly you out. It changes the game. If you can say to a lady, listen, we're gonna buy clothes when we get there. Don't worry about that. We're gonna go on a shopping spree right now. Listen, as much as any, and of course, I'm not saying that in a gold digging way for anybody. I'm saying the influence of money, or the influence of being able to provide. Let's change the word money, because money just sounds so gold digging. The ability to be able to provide with the resources that he has makes that person a bit more attractive. In fact, I'm gonna quote another rapper. I'm an ugly man making sexy money. Jay Hus is a great example of what we're talking about here, right? That line is a great line, right? But a lot of women would give him play. They wouldn't have given him play if he was broke. I'm just gonna be real with you. He can say whatever he wants, and he will tell the truth himself. He knows he wouldn't have got play, because the money is what's changed. The money is part of it, but it's not just money. It's status. It's power. These things also create a dynamic of attraction. And so as men, we experience this because it goes back to being in school. You go back to school and you go and look at who was attractive. Not everybody who was attractive. Some people were attractive because they were, but some people were attractive because they were fighters. Some people were attractive because they were a sports person, right? Some people were attractive because they had the older cousins, they were gang warfare. Like you suddenly realize that not everyone was attractive because they were good looking at the face, but because they held power and they held status in the community that they're in. This also creates attraction. So it's not directly just money, it's what money can bring to the table. So, and as men, we have to understand that too. Because if you come to the table with just money, like you're saying, Bill Gates ain't got no swag. You mentioned Bill Gates, you mentioned Bezos, they ain't got no swag. Zuckerberg, they ain't got no swag for you. They ain't got no swag for you. No, you ain't got no swag for you. They ain't got no swag for you.
I didn't only mention them. I did also. This is why I said actors is a good.
Who else did you mention?
I named you hella actors who were good looking. This is what I'm saying. It's like, my thing is, that's why I said celebrities is a good point, because as you said, Kojo, celebrities, you didn't know them before the money. You didn't know how they were before the money. You only knew them at this point when they're successful. And I think I agree with you guys. I'm not even saying that. That's what I said.
Yeah,
it's definitely a thing. We're not saying it's not a thing. I guess what I'm saying is that the money, yes, makes you can dress nicer, you can have yourself looking on point. But if I see you and I'm not attracted to you, you're still not gonna get play. Like, for example, Drake is a perfect example. Before the money, nah. After the money, yeah. Like, it doesn't. The way I see Drake doesn't change just because now he's worth, close to.
But you are very rare. Listen, I get the point that you said.
That's my point.
You're rare because
that's my point.
Amount of play you get. But so let me ask you this question.
I'm not saying that money doesn't count for that's a thing. I said it before. There's women out there, like Charlene said, there are men out there who aren't quintessentially attractive. They got money and they've got a beautiful woman on their arm. Of course it's a thing. But that's.
I got a question for you now, Dan. So you telling me if The Rock was the fat manager at the grocery store? Because I got a dude at my grocery store just like The Rock. He just fat because he didn't have the money to work out 7 times a day, right? So he got The Rock face, but he got the dad bod, right? You said that he still would be attracted to him because he still looked like The Rock.
That's fair. Now, see, The Rock is a bad example because The Rock has always been ripped. I'm just gonna give you that. The Rock is
That's
a real
because he always had money.
No, The Rock did not. The Rock did not always have money.
Don't tell her it's just
He did
road
not.
girl. You're gonna get so in trouble.
He
You
did not. But I'm saying, if you've watched the show Young Rock, you know the Rock family was poor. He was not. Even his dad, when he was a wrestler, was not making money. The Rock only started to become well off when he started doing movies. Okay.
No,
But
I get, but he had enough money to be able to do the stay in shape because it was a requirement as a wrestler to stay in shape. So he was spending that money for supplements, different things like that. Those are things that contribute to having money. Like a dude ain't got the money to buy supplements, ain't gonna look like The Rock.
I mean, yes, but when you look at The Rock's life, even when he was a wrestler, he wasn't making a ton of money. And for example, there are men out there who work out, they're not making a ton of money. Like, you can go and get a gym membership right now. You don't have to make a ton of money to look good. That's just my point. But when you're talking about people who quintessentially are just attractive, like what Kojo said, they're going to get play. Now, I'm not saying that if maybe you're not maybe let's say, for example, you're an average man, you get money, you make yourself look good, you have, and then you encourage that swagger and stuff, and you've got a lot of money. I'm not saying that you won't get women. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that for me personally, if the money is the only thing that is there, then they're still not, because I'm just going to look at you with contempt all the time. When you start to say something I don't like, kind of what you guys have just been saying this entire time. When you look at the guy, you have an argument, what, because he's got money now all of a sudden you're going to be, oh, no, you guys just spent this whole time telling us that I need to be attracted to you, because if we're in an argument,
I agree.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. I'm not saying that women don't
Well, but you guys, that's not my perspective. I feel like it's no reason for me to be disrespectful to my wife, whether I'm attracted to her or not. Like, I can't just be disrespectful because now I'm not attracted to her, or I can't like start talking crazy. I get it, like, because I don't agree with that.
But were you attracted in the beginning, though? E, were you attracted in the beginning, though?
I believe that I don't believe that there's people on earth that people are not attracted to. I think that's a bad argument.
So can you just answer the question directly? When you met your wife, or if you want to take your wife out of the equation because she's your actual wife, but like anybody you've dated, the women you've dated in the past, have you been attracted to them when you met them and dated them?
No, like it was definitely this one chick. It was this one chick that I was not attracted at all. And the loyalty that she had to me is what made me start being so attractive. When I say that girl had my back, I mean, the worstest time I had financially, she looked out for me, and that was so attractive to me. So I don't think attraction is the biggest thing, but that is my standard.
Okay.
If your standard is that attraction is something that big to you, that's something totally different.
We understand. So let's just stay there with that situation. So without being too specific, why didn't that relationship work?
I think that relationship didn't work because she left me. I would have married that woman. To be honest, like, listen, like she left me for whatever reason.
Okay,
and it's cool. This is what it is.
Okay.
What's your
no, then that's fair. Then I think that sticks to your point, right? Attraction for you really is just it's not a major factor, and that's okay. But I think what we're saying is, for most people, you know, or for a good chunk of us, it is important. At least those that represent an opinion on this panel, right? And some in the comments. We feel like attraction is important. We're not saying, you know, we're gonna hang our hats and that's the only thing that's important, but we're saying at a very base level, if we're gonna be in a relationship, especially a long-term one, I need to look at you and feel some energy. I need to look at you and I want you to look at me and I want you to feel some energy. I don't want you to feel the ick, or I don't want you to have an ick in your head and then you have to replace other things to be attracted to me, like, oh, fill in the blanks, whether it's money, whether it's my status, whatever it is. I want at a very base level for you to feel attracted to me and I feel attracted to you.
Yeah, that grew for me for her. So the woman that I'm talking to initially, because you asked about initial, I wasn't attraction, but once we start spending time and we start like kicking it, I believe you get attracted to people you spend the most time with. I could take I could put Lil Black, but would disagree with me. I can take the ugliest woman on the world and put him on the island. I come back in 5 to 10 years, they gonna have kids. They gonna be living like this idea.
Yeah, maybe for you,
Yeah,
E,
'cause
but
I
it
know a
won't be for
choice.
me. You gonna find me swimming to another island because if I ain't feeling you,
I can't
ain't
swim,
nothing gonna
so I'm
happen.
stuck.
Sorry.
I can't swim, so I'm stuck.
No, I just think
Build
the
a
people
boat, Kojo. Build a boat.
Oh, if there's a boat, then I want a boat either way. You know?
listen, I'm just saying the people that you spend the most time with, it is proven that you become attracted to.
Nah, bro,
No,
I'm not with you on that
no.
because I can look at your
There's
face
truth
every
to that.
day, and if you ain't attractive, it ain't gonna change. And I'm probably gonna get more pissed off the more I spend time with you if I'm not attracted to you. That's just me, and that's how I work. Now, you might have some endearing qualities, and we might be able to be the best of friends, but that's about all it's ever gonna be.
I get what you're saying, but I guess that's the difference between being in the
Whose
oh,
mic
what's
is
going
that?
on?
Wait, hold on. Go for it, Bruce. This way, hold on.
Yeah, that's the difference between being in the friend zone and not being in the friend zone. Because when you spend a lot of time with your friends, your best friends, and if you've got a best friend who's the opposite sex, the difference is that there's no physical attraction there, but you care about that person, you love that person, but you're not looking at them in that way. But I think I guess my thing is that yes,
Precious.
you use what?
You ain't never slept with none of your friends that was in the friend zone.
No.
Oh, okay.
Once you're in the
That's a
friend
conversation
zone,
for another day. We definitely
No,
need to talk about that one day.
wait,
once you're in the friend
Hold
zone,
on.
once you're in the friend zone, the thing is with me, if I put you in a friend zone, I put you in a friend zone because I know that that's where you're going to stay. I've never been, and I'm somebody who I will never say never, but up to my 29 years of life, I have never been at a position where I see somebody who is in the friend zone and I'm like, oh, actually, maybe. That's just never happened.
Well, Precious, the woman that we was talking about, I put her in the friend zone and she escaped. Oh no, she escaped. She got out.
Listen, I don't know why you ain't got no locks in your friend zone. That's a problem. You
Not
got no
many-
locks in your friend zone.
Yeah, and also not many men do that. Men specifically are very notoriously black and white about their friend zone. If
men let their women out. Listen, men let the friends out. Like men, to be honest on this panel,
they don't.
They don't have
No, we
women
can't.
that was in
I
there.
know. We don't let them out.
Okay.
Unless you're
I'm
trying to
the only
smash,
one.
you know you don't let them out.
They don't.
You know you don't let
They
them
don't.
out. Unless you're trying to smash, you know you don't let them out, bro.
And
Come on.
if that was the case, they were never in the friend zone completely
In the
from
first
the
place.
beginning. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
That's
no.
not
So
true.
if
It was
you're
a
in the
phantom
friend,
zone.
no,
It was
listen, E. If you're in the friend zone because there is no attraction to then that's where you will stay, unless that person is completely maniacal, which is like, a small percent of the population, and they're like, you know what, I'm just gonna take advantage of my friend. But most guys are not just going to throw you in there. If there's no attraction at all, it might not be a full attraction, then, that's not completely friend zoning. Women friend zone men differently. Like they'll put you there because they don't see nothing in you, but they are willing to have you hang around in orbit to see what you might bring down the line.
So men, let me ask the men, y'all never escaped the friend zone either? A woman had you in the friend zone and you got out and you smashed?
I've escaped, but I'm trying to tell you that you said
you
escaped.
Exactly.
I escaped. No, but you talk about men having women.
Yeah, women. Yes, you can escape a woman's friend zone. Of course you can. But men, it's a lot more difficult to do that. It's
way
a lot
more.
more difficult.
We're very good jailers. We put them in and we put them in permanently.
Yeah.
Listen,
That's
you know
what
what I mean? So
in my
we've reached our 3-hour mark, guys. We've reached our 3-hour mark. So I'm gonna get we can continue the conversation behind the scenes. But Sean, if I can just give me a quick benediction, and I'm gonna get Jay also to give me a benediction as well. So we round up a good day. Go for it, Sean.
I'm gonna give it a try because we've been on the great adventures loop to loop with this convo. But listen, as we often say, how you begin is very important. And you should start from a solid foundation, right? Don't settle. Don't feel like you've settled. Make sure you feel satisfied in your relationships and in the way you start your relationships.
Beautiful stuff. Jay, give us the benediction. You're the last person to give us a summary benediction.
Which Jay?
Hmm?
Which Jay? Me?
Yes, you. Sorry, I thought there was more than one Jay. My bad.
And I'll just add, because of what Sean said, is when you don't do that, is what we're now currently seeing when it comes to marriages or long-term relationships, because the foundation wasn't right in the first place, and it's taken time for these things to come out simply because we're different in this generation. This isn't our grandparents' generation or the generation before, or even biblical times. Even though there are scriptures, like you say, Coach, in the very beginning, that say she was beautiful, she was this, she was that, right? So for me personally, I'm going to say don't do it. But if you are doing it and you are able to still build a healthy and successful relationship or marriage, it's okay. The only thing I'm concerned about is where this is the very thing that causes problems later. You don't need to put yourself through all of that. Just make sure you can do it. And at the same time, I don't understand why anyone would want to be with someone if that person says to them, I really don't find you attractive, if they're going to be honest.
All right, cool. Thank you. Listen, audience, thank you so much for the conversation. It's been a good 3 hours. We brought in UK and US together. Loved it, actually really good vibes from all of you. And hopefully we get to have some more of these kind of conversations where we can branch the gap between US and UK. But listen, audience, thank you so much. Make sure you like it, you share, and you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. We'll be back a little bit later on, actually, because the live Chris and I think you're going to be on. Chris's interview from Ready to Love is going to be on. So I cannot wait to tap into that. And then we're going to do a review on Chris and Jessica from Ready to Love. So make sure you guys tune in for that in about a few minutes. But for those of you who are still here, baby, listen. Like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification uploads. Bye-bye. Okay? Bye-bye. Appreciate you guys. Much love. Much appreciation.